Okay, it's 4 o'clock, and I'm calling the September 24th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Public Works to order. In Tom's absence, I'm chairing this meeting, and I hope you will all be kind. And let me know when I screw up, because we need to get things right. So first thing is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, for the roll call, Tom Panetta is absent. I'm here. Barbara Curtis, Press Lee is here. Rich Nichols, Bob Heffernan. Amy Marasco is not here. We have Robin Davis, General Manager, Sharon Sexton, Assistant General Manager, Mike Hoffman, Legal Counsel, and our wonderful invited guests. There is no public here, so I'm not going to read about the call to the public unless there's people online.
Barbara, before that, do you want to get to the consent agenda?
Yes. Consent agenda. There is no Vice President report, no Secretary report. Approval of minutes. Did anyone have any comments? And Assistant Treasurer report. Any comments? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, consent agenda is approved. Call to the public we won't worry about. So the next is receive the Inframark report.
Good afternoon.
Oh.
How you doing? Today. Okay, so first thing I do want to address was, I know, Bob, we talked about the pump station assessment. That is being worked on a more in-depth assessment than what we have.
Yes, I have 200 pages that I've tried to get.
That one is a slightly different, but we're working on the one to address the bypasses and the second, the
I mean,
backup pumps.
literally what I'm interested in is what's dire, what's
Yes. Yeah.
next level dire.
Yep.
And what should be addressed first, and then, we're going to ask how much.
Okay, yeah, and that's what, we've had a couple different pump station reports in the past.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
let the record show that the mayor, Amy Marasco, has joined the meeting. Thank you.
Sorry, everyone.
So we've had a couple different pump station reports in the past, and I'm just trying to consolidate all of those together so that we can have a comprehensive view of everything that's going on with the pump stations.
Could I
Yes,
ask
sir.
you a question on pump stations?
Yes.
How often do you do any kind of checking, maintenance on pump stations?
So we have a monthly maintenance that we do. We go out and check all the pump stations,
All 30?
all 30 of them.
Okay.
So we will pull floats, check fog levels, make sure the pumps operate as intended. And basically do an overview of the pump stations themselves. We've actually had a couple issues where we've caught them due to our inspections. We actually just had one this month. So pump station 19 had a fault. We weren't aware of it. We went out and checked it and caught it before it became a problem. However, the ragging at that station is atrocious. So, but yes, we do a full inspection at least once a month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Along that line, if there's heavy fog, do your guys do anything about it?
We removed a trash can full of rags and fog out at that station, along with Clean Delaware to pump it out. Was that a week ago? week and a half ago. So we went out, we found that at a high level, the fog was so thick, I actually have videos I can show you that you could push on it with a stick and the whole mat would move. And you could have dropped a screwdriver on there, it would have been picked it back up.
What's the location of that pump station?
19.
No, but where is it?
That would be it's in Pilot Town, by the, is that the retirement community?
Oh.
So we've done several steps to try to alleviate that. We have a muffin monster. We put in a blower that does work, but unfortunately, with the blower causes issue with the float. So we have to put a transducer in before we can run the blower as intended, because it actually stirs everything up. All the rags catch on the floats, weigh the floats down, and then the pumps don't operate.
What contact got me? I'm sorry.
So we need to, so we're looking to actually replace the floats in that station with a transducer that will hopefully alleviate that. But it essentially just sends the rags further down the line.
I would assume that's somewhat influenced by the nursing home.
Yes.
Yeah.
What can we do to get them to realize that there's a problem? Can we put a screen in there of some sort at their site?
I mean, yeah, we could, then it's just gonna be backing up and then we're going back to the same. I mean, again, I'm not, but we send out notices, we send out calls, we talk to them and
Yeah,
send out.
I've had a meeting with them. I sat down with the property manager and gave them material for her to post all over the break room areas for the employees. She said she was gonna give them a training. So we've done some education out there,
Can
but
we get them to buy a muffin monster or buy a screen or something?
We have a muffin monster in that station.
Well, is it theirs or who maintains that?
Ours.
Is that our station?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, who's back, can't we put one further up?
Well, what if we
Screen
tell them we have to have
Their-
extra charges if we have to
their-
look at it more than once a
On
month?
their site?
That would be, Robin, could we charge them for maintenance on that station?
I don't think so, since it's our station. I don't know if it's,
We can
Could
look, and
we-
I don't have an
Yeah.
answer.
But I think we could require them to do something, I mean, physically.
Could we put a screen up
That's
near,
what-
yeah,
That's what I'm
that would back up into their facility?
but wouldn't the
so they
screen
would-
catch other stuff that is
So
designed
they
to
would
go out there?
understand there are
Pipes.
consequences?
Yeah, probably would, but they would clean it if they had the problem. I mean, if it's their screen, they would be responsible for taking care of it. They can put them in whatever they want, but it has to work.
Okay, we don't need to solve that right
Yeah,
now,
right.
but it's maybe something that
Well, I think it's a lot.
you could think about.
Yeah.
I think, Rob, can we talk about that at a later date?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so a couple of amendments since this report went out. The chemical coating has been pushed back a week due to the vendor. So we will be doing the chemical coating the week of October 13th. The replacement chemical tanks will be coming in the week after that. So the goal as of right now, we will not be taking any more caustic loads. That's already been communicated with both the water plant and the chemical distributors. We're going to run those tanks empty, wash them out. The other chemicals for the citric and the sodium hypochlorite will be washed out and removed. The coating will be completed in that area. The following week, Design Plastics is going to come in, remove the caustic tanks, remove the hypo and citric tanks that we already have out of place. We will have cure time on the coating, and then they're going to install all the tanks over a most likely 2-day period. So that should be October 20th and 21st if everything goes well. We did get a quote for a new chemical vendor to replace all our chemicals, which was sent up to Robin and Sharon to take a look at. The door
Does
and
that look like an improvement or?
I know that one of the chemicals specifically was half the price, but a lot of the other chemicals I believe were comparable. So it was fairly steady, except for one particular chemical that was significantly cheaper.
How much, what kind of price range are you talking about? Much cheaper, but it's $10 a bottle or something.
So this was for the citric acid.
What kind of dollars are we paying for that?
I'd have to look at that quote.
Just top of my head.
Yeah, what kind of?
The price difference was half for that particular.
What kind of?
I
what
believe it was,
magnitude, I guess
I believe it was $16 a pound and went down to $8.
Can't remember.
Well,
I
what
can't
I'm looking
remember.
for is a price overall.
I think-
Like How many pounds are we using?
Yeah, he's looking for, is it
the bottom line
$500 or
cost?
$5,000?
Yeah,
Oh, I'd have to look at the quote for that and to actually look at our usage. We just got a price per pound of what it would cost, or what we pay now.
but I guess
we
what I'm
can-
asking for, how
yeah.
many pounds is that, and what's it
Yeah.
add up to? Is it a significant overall amount, or is it not significant?
I'd have to look at that one.
Okay.
The door and roof repair was in progress and I believe is completed now. I know the roof in the bathroom is fixed now.
Yes.
And I believe all the doors were done. The
The
Neo
roof
water
in-
trial,
The roof in the chemical building, is that done?
he was patching that, yes.
Okay.
The Neo water trial has been approved. We do have the totes on site and that trial will begin October 1st. So the county will be involved with that as well, or notified as that, so that we can have the testing done to make sure that the false positive on arsenic doesn't come up.
Okay.
The chemical cleans on trains 1 and 2 have been completed for this time of year. 3 and 4 are going to have to wait until after the chemical tanks are replaced, because we're not going to have the chemicals on site. We are going to have to clean train 3 and then swap the membranes with 4 to complete the clean on that. I spoke with the sales rep from Sherwood Logan. We have a quote for the slide gate, but we do not have a quote to replace the actuator or the rod yet. We're going to have the actuator assessed and see if that can be repaired as opposed to replaced. Generator quote, we already discussed that, Robin.
Question.
Yes.
I noticed in the treasurer's report, which we'll be coming to later, that the water and electric usage at the wastewater treatment plant seem to be higher than they used to be.
So the water usage is due to, what I believe is due to the new screens in the headworks. The screens are more efficient now, but they're also due to the compactor and the efficiency of the screens, they're running more frequently. We have a water reuse system. Unfortunately, it's old and was neglected for many years. We tried to get that up and running, and there's so much rust in the system that it clogs the sprayer heads. So we actually spoke with the compactor manufacturer, which is JWC, and they told us not to use, they don't recommend using reuse water because it's a fairly common problem. Aviva said the same thing. Reuse water will often cause the sprayer heads to clog and lead to problems with the screens. Now, we could pursue that if the board desires, but it's not recommended by the manufacturer. They would recommend that we use potable water, which does increase the water usage. That compactor uses, I believe, 45 gallons a minute when running and runs for several hundred minutes a day throughout the course of the day.
Okay. And that correlates with the electricity usage as well? Or is
I believe that would be a factor, yes.
Okay.
Well,
So it's
maybe we ought
purity
to
of the
like
water?
calculate it.
What's that, sir?
The purity of the water, it's a question?
The water reuse becomes a problem because anything that we're using, any kind of reuse that clogs the sprayers will cause the screens to blind over. So the tank and the lines for the reuse system are rusted. So we ran it for a day. We got the system to work, but the rust is so bad in those lines that we were pulling out pieces of rust, dime-sized pieces of rust that were clogged in the sprayer heads and caused the screens to blind over. So we would have to most likely either reline the pipes or replace the the bladder tank.
And I think that was a conversation that Tom had.
Yeah, so we can look at doing that. But again, I just wanted to point out that the manufacturers recommend using potable water. So if that's something we want to pursue and get a quote for, we can do.
Again, what kind of dollars are we talking about? Is it, do you know how many gallons per minute over those hundreds of minutes that?
So for the compactor, it's 45 gallons a minute, and then for the screens, I'd have to look off the top of my head. I don't recall.
Okay,
But I believe we're using somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 gallons a month more.
do you think you could tell us next month, Robin, what we're gonna do?
Well, that's about 250 in purchased water price.
250.
Yeah, what is it, 1,000 gallons now? $1.15, something like that. Yeah,
Their
And-
water usage for this month was about $2,000.
but how much
Over.
did it go up? What was the increase? That's the additional,
About 2,000.
It would be about $2,000.
additional.
Yeah.
That's more than that.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
but
doesn't
with,
seem to
with
be-
all those dimensions
Mhm.
and screens and filters and heads and dime-sized pieces of rust, what's a good solution and what are you gonna do? And how much does that save or how much does that cost? I don't know. Arithmetic.
Yeah, and once we have those numbers, we can look at whether we just should adjust the budget and use the greater amount of water or go forward with
Yeah,
cleaning up the water reuse equipment and piping.
and I don't think we need, third decimal point, but we need, the first ones. The number in front of it.
Okay, I can have that quote by next month, yes.
Okay, great.
Or maybe you can use the recycled water for the watering all the nice plants you have there now.
So, the only other issue we were going to touch on is I know that in the Violi report, they had mentioned we had a spike in turbidity on train 4. That went away on October 18th. It was just a little bit of buildup in the turbidity meter on that train. So,
Okay.
October 18th?
October 18th, or,
September.
no, they went away October 18th. We cleaned it on October 18th.
Which was last year?
Last year?
Yeah, we're
Or
in
so it was
September.
September. I'm losing my mind. It's all.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Questions from anyone? Of course, I had a couple. First of all, the list of invoices, vendors and invoices.
Mhm.
I always wondered how you got those manhole covers off.
The magnet, yes.
The magnet,
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
magnet we had.
almost $1,000 for the
Yes.
magnet.
So that magnet that we had started to fail, which can be rather dangerous because if we start to pull it off and it falls, yeah.
Yeah,
So we did have to get a new magnet to pull off. We also have a rhino hammer, which is used for removing them, but some of those manhole covers don't actually have holes. They're just flush. You have to have a magnet to pull them off. So, yeah.
and who all went to Tricon?
Several of the operators went to Tricon. Myself, Matt, Kurt, Josh, and Vince on rotating days. So we found that Tricon is actually a more affordable way to get continuing education. So over the 2 days of being there, you can knock out nearly 2 years worth of continuing education.
Wow.
So they have courses essentially from the time it starts to the time it ends.
Ooh. Okay, that's good. The Gantt chart
Yes.
is kind of behind it. It doesn't show very much into October. It has maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it looked to me like the projects start as July 23rd.
For which project are you looking at?
I'm just looking at the chart itself. It seems like, maybe I'm reading it wrong. The Neo Water, for instance, shows that it's kind of started already. Conduct trial, starting September 1st.
That'd be October 1st.
Yeah, but it says September.
Oh, okay, okay, I do see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to adjust that. I did not notice that.
No, September the 1st.
On the chart itself, and then on the.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's a little bit confusing. Maybe no one else.
I will take a look at that. Under the actual dates, it has October 1st, but on the chart itself, it's showing September.
Right.
Oh, so that's the week of September 29th is what that is. If you follow that up, it does say the 1st. But that top section is the week of September 29th.
Okay. My mistake. Thank you. You already addressed the turbidity.
Yes.
So. Okay, that was all. Thank you. And great work on keeping up the no accidents.
Any other
No
questions?
lost time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is receive the president's report. Tom is alive and well.
At last
At last check, yes. This morning, I think it was, or yesterday. Okay, so receive the general manager's report.
Okay, some of the highlights of the attended this city council meeting. We had a walkthrough for the residential portion of Mitchell's Corner. That's a project out there on Kings Highway. It's a water-only project. The development's in the county, so we only have the water portion of it. Attended the SCEP meeting in Lewis.
Wait a minute, did you meet with Viola? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, we met, Matt Stapleford was coming down there for Tricon, so he stopped by there at the plant, and we just met down there, yeah. Yeah, me and Sharon, yes. Yep.
You didn't go to their plant?
No. We met here at
I'd
our
love
plant.
to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met at the wastewater plant.
Okay.
Yeah. We attended the DMAC annual meeting, attended the monthly leadership meeting with the city. We have our monthly meetings with the Burton subdivision representatives for the 4th Street project. Attended the University of Delaware Community Engagement meeting about the nuisance flooding. That was really well attended, really. I think that went well. Attended Tricon, or tried to, me, Sharon, and Eric. Had a virtual meeting with DBF, the construction plan reviews for Hanlope and Bluff, which is a development coming online, hopefully in the future. As usual, me and Sharon meet monthly with Ben to discuss the status of ongoing projects. As far as our updated projects, Canal Crossing and the Wellfield Header Pipe project, again, we're down at the final stages. They're doing the final punch list, going a little slower than I was hoping, but everything's all done and up and running. As far as the storage tank, the new water tower, they'll be coming back probably now in October to start the structural work instead of, they were looking at September, but now it's had to push back because they had an issue with some of their crews, had to go to another job. I think that's what was addressed. As far as the Hoornkill, GMB still working through design. They have submitted a draft concept plan of the layout for the new and expansion of the water and sewer. Staff's reviewing that. That's part of the resiliency study this evening. We'll talk about the pump station that needed at the end of Hoornkill. Think we're still kind of on schedule, maybe July of 2026 by completion, maybe, I think. Capes Cove is the water sewer project out there for the mobile home park out there on New Road. The board approved the bids in July. We awarded the bids. We approved the bid last month, but we were underfunded. The board approved moving forward to try to seek additional funding. We got that additional funding. So we went ahead and signed the notice to award the contract. As far as other items, the City of Lewis Community Service Day is Friday, October 3rd. Got a couple staff members, myself, Sharon, Patrick, and Joey will be helping out. The Household Hazardous Waste Take Back Day is Saturday, October 25th. Unfortunately, it's the same weekend as Sea Witch.
Oh,
So,
Can I make a suggestion for that, just for us?
Mhm.
I mean, we have people wait in line and then drive up and we say, we can't take your paint.
Mhm.
Could we find a way to move that part of it to near the end of the line?
Near the end of the line.
What, near the end of where people get in line, okay? If you got a lot of latex paint,
Talk to them before they get in line.
yeah, we're not,
unfortunately, some of them don't know they have latex paint until they
right.
get out and look at it.
well,
They just say this paint. I don't know.
we could send somebody down there. I'll go and say, hey, what do you got in there?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, there's.
We'll see you
You know.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Bob,
I mean, we tried to tell. I think we put it out that
Yeah.
no latex paint, but
Yeah,
people
we
just
do.
look at paint and they put it in their vehicle. And half of
Yeah.
them you can't see the cover on it anyway.
They're so
So
old.
So I'll direct traffic but, it might help.
Is there any way we could take latex paint?
the company won't take it.
I know they won't, but is there another company?
Or can we do
it'll
something?
go in the trash.
Yeah, you can put it in the
We
trash.
we can do what they should do, open all the cans and let it dry out.
Let it
Yeah.
dry out, yeah. Yeah.
And the last thing I have is the biannual hydrant flushing is scheduled for October 22nd and 23rd.
I have a question about the water tower.
Yes, sir.
Are we still on schedule if they're slipping there and going to other jobs and so on?
From what I'm hearing, is still, yes, they still think they can make it up because it's not that much of a delay.
Can you get that in writing?
I'm pretty sure they're not going to put it in writing.
But just to keep the pressure on that they, that this doesn't keep slipping and then we get bad weather and,
But they have a date that they have a end date that they have to have their contract date is got to be done by a certain time anyway, and then they have
There's a
damages.
penalty.
Yeah,
There's a penalty.
yeah,
That's
correct.
what I was gonna
Yep.
ask.
and that date is more or less end of next year or?
Okay, September 2026.
Okay, a year from there.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I had a question about the virtual meeting with USDA to discuss funding opportunities. What was that?
So we met with them to kind of get a feel if they would provide funding maybe for water projects, specifically Burton. We also inquired about potentially doing electrical AMI, but they have a different program that is national and not regional. So we now have to talk to a different USDA agent about the electrical.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question as well?
And I mean,
Yeah.
So the city would like to collaborate a little bit more with you all on the USDA because we also have needs. So it's pretty much the same rep that will be at the level to direct us. So rather than you call them, we call them, if we can be on those virtual calls, that would be helpful.
We can do that.
Great. Any other questions for General Manager? Okay, next is item 10. Oh, wait a minute.
9.
8. I'm moving right along.
They got quick enough.
receive the finance manager's report.
So I don't have too much for you tonight. This is August presentation. This is month 5. Next month will be the big presentation of quarter 2 and new projections and possible budget requests of changes. Overall, our operating revenue is up. Our expenses are actually down than budget. And that is for August and year to date. There are a couple notes I just wanted to point out. Last month and this month, Swannendale Park has been high for water usage, which goes into the sewer as well. We did find out that the fountain was broken and it is now fixed. And that happened about 2 months ago. So that's great that we have a reason for that.
But it also has a leak in the pipe to that fountain,
Is there a leak as well?
so that goes into the ground, but.
Great. Did not get that information. Line 13 for professional and contractual services. Potomac came out working on the relay and the transformer for when we had our issue. So that is why that is up. And line 26, grants and assistance. I planned for this month to be when we received the principal forgiveness for Donovan Smith. It hasn't happened yet, so that looks like a big deal, but it's really not. That it should be happening this year. It's just I brought it too early.
Timing.
Yep. And then for the cash scraps, we are above overall our goal. There are still some shortages in different utilities, but overall we are above. And if you have any questions.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, do you have, we're plus because sales are up and expenses are off. Do we think that's gonna continue into the remainder of the year?
It will continue until the loans start needing to be paid for the draw loans, because we're putting out that expense and then we're getting that money back. So until it'll be the water tower and then Donovan Smith, we have our last request that's being paid out. So until those are done and we actually have to start putting out the money for the debt, we'll still keep bringing in more money.
So operations wise, we're in good shape.
Yep.
And the other thing is, fees for financial investments and so on, and that's probably a subject for the finance committee next time they meet.
Yes, and it was brought up, and whenever we do transfers from our operating account to investments, we have been moving it to just the money market and not the account that has the fees.
Anything else, Bob? No? Okay. Thank you. We'll move along to number 9, old business. Open forum general discussion on pump station resiliency study.
Your favorite subject.
Okay?
Can you read all 341 pages?
Verbatim, I will read. So good evening, Ben Hearn with GMB. I don't have a formal presentation for this report because it's in draft form. I kind of wanted to use this opportunity. Hopefully you've had a chance to kind of take a look at it. I'm sure you've not read every single page in detail, but if there are any comments or questions or concerns about the report that we can look to address in the final version, we'd be happy to do that. I'm open to your thoughts and feelings on that.
I really didn't realize we were going to go through this because we just got it.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the
Understood. Yeah, I do have more on those options, yes.
I had one question, and again, I haven't been into this very deeply. When you review the past events, Winter Storm Jones, you have no date with that. and it supposedly exceeds the March 62 storm, which is impossible.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't have the details on that in my head.
Yeah, so I saw the
For
dates
that.
weren't even with this thing. Now, I've heard that before, and it's a misunderstanding between where the readings were taken. And I hate to see that
Okay.
any place like this,
Okay,
because it's not a true record.
gotcha.
Well, I'm looking up Winter Storm Jonas for you,
Okay,
but it
okay.
was January of 2016.
Yeah, now, in 62, there's that sign along Savannah Road, have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
The water was up here.
Yes. I
Now,
love that
in
sign, yeah.
2016, it may have been up at my boots or something, but I
Yeah.
don't remember that. So that's a falsehood. It was just a reading, where they took the reading from.
Press, in those cases, you're supposed to evacuate.
In those cases, I did.
All right, we'll have to look into that a little
Okay,
bit more.
all right.
Well,
Try
here's
to
what
just-
I'd say. I mean, that's great, thorough, and, you know, after we absorb it all, it's missing two little pieces. Okay, one is kind of, is how much each one, and I'm sort of would encourage you not to go do, you know, detailed things, but kind of just ballpark it, because
Correct.
by the time you get to the halfway through that list, the numbers would be different. So I'd say you guys sit around and say pump station 33, 15,000. And if, you know, take another sip of your coffee and move to pump station 34. And then the other thing I'd say is if one of these pump stations is not in bad shape and only needs to be raised 1.5 feet in your thing, forget it for now, because there's other things to worry about. And then Robin and you all say, these are our top 6, 5 that are easy, 3 that are easy, and 1 that's hard, and 1 is trivial, or whatever. And just, you use like management on it. And,
Agreed.
and just, you know, come back with that list as opposed to spending a great deal more time, you know,
Being accurate.
being
That accurate.
overly accurate. And again, we don't need the decimal points, but we need, you know.
Agreed. I mean, we are gonna more broad brush the pricing. I do know in terms of prioritization, you know, obviously this may change, but I think the last time we had talked about prioritization was focusing on those in the AE7 first, and then, and I forget the exact time frame. I think addressing those by 2030.
8,
eight
2040,
Yeah,
9 by 2050.
correct. So obviously there's, we can adjust that.
Unless something's gonna break before that, you know.
Yeah, right.
I mean, just, I don't know that great accuracy is gonna improve our priorities or actions, really.
Understood.
Can I get a confirmation of the resiliency, the 2 levels reference of resiliency? One is the base flood elevation, and the other is the critical elevation. And it seems that we are thinking that we should make any evaluation of how to get to the critical elevation now, which I think is financially not the right thing to do. That if we focus on the base flood elevation as the starting point and a mechanism to go to a higher elevation when needed, because that higher elevation is not meant to be accessible forever. It's just to protect it at that particular time prediction.
Well, and Mayor, this project came out of the mitigation committee that we had a couple years ago. And 3 of the people in this room were on that committee.
Yes.
2 were not council people yet. And this is what came out, that we identified all of the facilities that we have in the floodplain, proposed floodplain. It's been mapped in GIS, and Josh did a great job. Is that finished yet? Okay, of that, all that information is in our GIS. And this,
So this would be the line.
Gotcha. Yep, okay, I got it.
and that study suggested certain elevations at certain periods of time. And the first thing, anything new is being built, supposed to be built to these standards. Anything that's below the first cutoff, which is, I forget the exact height, should be brought up in I guess it's in flood zone 7. Should be brought up to the proper height by 2030.
Okay.
And then the flood zone 8 by 2050. So we've got that planned out, how we're going to raise things and when we're going to raise them.
But that's not referenced in any of this documentation.
Right. It's a very good point, but that's where it's going.
I thought I read it.
But if we start with the lowest elevation that's recommended, rather than what seemed to be presented was the solution, well, let's go to critical, and then we won't have to do anything.
Yeah, I think.
And I think that's a mistake financially, because that's far more expensive than going to what the minimum is and knowing that you have to go to higher.
I don't
make that.
They're at the minimum now, Richard. They're in the flood elevation already.
Not all of them.
Well, most of them. And what we did was we looked at
Well, anyway, it's not
sea level rise.
Yes, but we start with the lowest elevation of the base flood elevation, which is 100-year definition in the documentation.
Yeah.
And then
it turns out to be 10
the
years.
2050, which is whatever, that's the critical.
Mhm.
I think it's like
And whatever is in
1.62
between,
feet.
if it's targeted, if you start at the lowest one now, financially, do that, because you're putting into operation the mechanisms to now permit raising out of the floodplain when floods come.
So are you
As needed.
suggesting we should ignore the critical elevations, or are you
No.
suggesting we look at the most critical ones first? The most vulnerable pump stations first? Because that, I think, is what we're already doing.
Yeah.
But pump station 9, for instance, already is above the critical, according to the.
Yeah, there were a few in here. There
Right.
were a few that
Right.
don't need work.
Correct, and I think that was based off some early mapping that showed it in the floodplain, but when we went out and actually surveyed it, it said,
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the documentation currently
yeah.
is fine.
Yeah, I think the proposition would be like for those, I think there's 2 stations there, like 9 is one of them. Like I would say that's
Yeah.
farther on the list down unless something critical comes up from.
Right.
And as from the diagrams, this kind of the suggestions, what appears to be shown is the electrical equipment is out in the open in the most critical position, elevation, unprotected by the weather and or any security. Is that any kind of a concern? And does that really need to be enclosed as currently the pump station's equipment is?
Like
appears
in
to
those
be?
little cedar shacks that we have now. I mean, it's definitely, I think, better long-term to have them protected by something and not be out in the open. Especially when you're getting in there and have to work in them when it's raining or snowing or something like that.
Right. So if you're raising them to the highest elevation now, you're gonna spend now for that protection and regular maintenance once a month for everyone. And it just seems to me excessive at this point in time to do the minimal level. Yes, for sure. And if it's 15, it's 15. The number doesn't really matter. It's the concept of being financially.
I'm confused, Richard. I'm not quite sure what you're saying. You're not saying we raise them a certain distance now and a certain distance for 2050. I don't think you're saying that, are you?
Yes.
You are saying that?
Have you raised it? Put now and know that you've got the ability to raise them in future times when that future actually hits.
Well, we don't haven't, yeah, we haven't broken it off in what years it's going to be where. Maybe we could.
You've targeted it.
We could, yeah, but we don't have a graph of it. I guess we could make it and just,
Yeah, but it's all
might be just a linear line to share that, because I don't know how you would create it otherwise.
Well, like a garage door, it raises.
I don't think
Tracks.
he's saying, okay, he's saying at the base minimum level, that's where we build it to, but have the ability to raise it if an
Yes.
event
But
happens.
what are you calling the base minimum level today?
Yeah.
The base flood elevation
Yes,
that's
yes.
targeted, which is named the 100-year flood.
But that thing, everybody knows that thing's not very accurate right now.
Right.
But that's what is
So
shown.
why should we
So
put?
what is, if that's not accurate, what is the right elevation?
That's that's the critical elevation.
Yeah,
It's the right elevation.
The one,
Yeah.
the 50 years, or
Yeah.
the 30 years
No, it's
out to 2050?
2050.
So everything should be
25
now
years.
raised up to the 2050, nothing in between?
That's what we're.
Well,
that's
I think what they're saying, or that task force recommended, and I think the direction we were going was, okay, we have some pump stations we need to do some work on. And so while we're doing it, let's go there to the 11.46 or 6.4.
6.4.
And be done with that one so we can move on to another one. And it might be a little bit more expensive now, but it will avoid a shutdown. And we're not, the 100-year flood, as somebody pointed out here, happens more often than 100-year. And so the reason to be high and keep our critical infrastructure at the 11.64, that has to be there, like mostly the electronics, is, we'll be able to recover from a disaster and so on. But it's going to take us years to get there, because it'll be expensive, but only do those projects once. And we're not worried about high tide flooding meeting that critical thing. But what we are worried about is daily high tide flooding plus Jonas 2 or something like that. Hurricane Sandy that didn't go to New Jersey came here.
Yeah.
So at that point, the 11.64 seems to make a lot of sense.
I mean, otherwise, every year when you change things, you'd be raising things up a little bit higher because it's not a static number. I mean, it's not to say, you can't say by
Right, but
2030, it's gonna be something, so we'll.
But if you go to the critical level, now you've got to maintain it at the critical level from whenever you started now and into the future,
Well, I don't think
which is
that's,
operating and maintenance.
yeah, but I don't think that's any more trouble. I mean,
When it
it
was,
means that somebody might use a bucket truck or a ladder, but it's, you know, in some cases, and in others, they might use a step stool or.
I mean, you almost have to set steps that you're guessing is going to happen through the next 20 years or whatever. I think that's kind of tough. You'd be changing them all the time. If you're, you know,
not all the
Spending
time.
a lot more money
yeah, I mean, you
to do it in steps because you've got your,
redoing
No,
stuff.
I think what Richard's trying to say is when we do a pump station, we build it to that minimum or that base level elevation, but have the ability to go up and down. So we're not going to rebuild it every 5 years or so. It's just going to have that ability to go up to the critical elevation when we need it and then bring it back down.
If
after
you
the storm.
thought, if you're
That's
talking
not
about
easy.
the one that
That's
the
not easy.
concept of floating,
Correct.
Yeah.
correct.
okay, I think we're back on the same page, but it would go up to,
Correct.
you know, okay, so if the floating concept is being used at pump station Alpha, that you sit it on the ground and water rises and you go up. If that's the concept that's being used, and yes, it would reach that and we'd be proud of ourselves when Jonas II came along. And we wouldn't need to take the float and mount it up in the air, okay? I mean, this board will be long gone, with the exception of a few young folk, by the time that happens. But, you know, we did study, we came up with the 11.64 as a good number, 50 years out or whatever,
25 years out.
plus 3 feet of freeboard. And, you know, I think it's still a good number. It'll take us a long time to get there.
Yeah, it's more a design issue than anything, I think. But a question for you, Ben.
Mhm.
I have a whole bunch of pages turned down with questions on them.
Yep.
What's the best way to get that to you?
You know, if you would prefer to meet, we can meet together and look at it, or whether, I mean, to me, that seems probably the best way to answer your questions.
Because this is draft, and before, we don't want it to be the same document that comes out as final.
No.
But I have
can
one
you- can you
question
give us-
for,
I agree, but we should probably all have a date that we
Yes.
have our comments, so we're not feeding things and, you know, piecemeal.
set up a meeting to, yeah.
Because I've just looked through it quickly. There's a lot to look at. So, you gotta give me a couple of weeks to get through it.
Yes,
If I can make a suggestion, so obviously one complication is as a public body, if you wanted to have a meeting, you can't all be there unless you notice it, which you could do. You
Yeah.
could notice a meeting devoted specifically to that. That's one option. The other option is if you wanted to submit written comments, I agree with press. Set a date, get written comments by X, they get sent to Ben, and then Ben can respond, or you can respond during the next meeting. That's another way to do it. Third is some hybrid, which is you can set a date for written comments, and then you can have, as Barbara met with Ben and Robin and Sharon, you can do that. You just all can't meet with Ben unless you know.
Sure.
so what's people's preference?
I'm okay with just all have our comments and hand them probably over to you guys. And you can consolidate them. That way you're not getting different letters.
That works for me.
That makes a lot of sense, except it's a lot of writing. Unless we
You can
all meet
dictate it.
separately. Yeah, but I did have one question for Robin. What's the Lewis Asset Management System? That's referenced on page 4 under methodology.
Grant that we used with, I want to say it was with Denrec, but I know we got some tablets and some reading equipment, I think. I can't remember exactly, but that was in 2020, I think. Yes.
Yes.
There we go.
I'm also able to jump in on that as well.
Please.
Yeah.
I was just simply saying that at the time I think it was 2017 is when we began the grant, and then it went on for a 5-year period. At that time, we collected the first couple of years, I think the first year or so, we started collecting and inventorying each one of the lift stations in a detailed manner. We used a more simple anyways.
Yeah.
And we ended up document photo and tabular documentation on the specifics to each one of the lift stations. So,
Not just the lift stations, but also all the infrastructure, water and sewer related of the board. So we inventoried all that all the things and PDF'd and digitized a lot of the plans to generate the GIS system that you guys have today. So there's a lot of like plan references, and there's a lot of
Is all this in there? Yeah,
not the asset management.
Yeah, okay,
No,
yeah.
that's its own separate.
not this. Yeah.
That's its own separate kind of report that was done.
That,
No, I'm not pushing you away. No, I'm not pushing you away.
No, but the report says that the ratings were based upon the guidelines set out from the Lewis Asset Management System. So I wondered what those guidelines were.
So in that effort to inventory all that, there was some condition assessments done back a while ago, and some of the ratings, that rating system was used to help delineate operational abilities and inefficiencies and things of that nature.
But it's not really guidelines. We don't have a set of guidelines, is what I'm asking.
I would say the answer is probably no, not guidelines. Maybe guidelines was the wrong word in that.
Okay.
There was a push in 2017 nationwide. It was mostly from the Office of Drinking Water, that everybody who was going to go after grants needed to have an asset management plan. So everybody did this, and then they never asked for it again. The Sept was, we should all have asset management plans.
Sure it's not
I'm
on.
not on. It's off. Now,
I hear it.
Yeah, I hear.
you heard it? Okay. So that was the initiative. You couldn't write a grant into any drinking water office unless your asset management plan was attached. And then they stopped asking for it. So you're not the only municipality. But the goal was you would keep it up, and it would basically inform your budgeting process. Okay, this equipment lasts 20 years. This is this. It had a lot of guidelines. That their concept then was you could manage, forecast your water and wastewater assets. That was the goal.
Thank you, Mayor. That's very helpful.
yeah.
Okay, so do we want to set a date to provide our comments to Robin? Is 2 weeks good?
Do we have a date from the grant on this to
Oh,
get the
yeah.
information back?
Yes, so
Good point.
currently the date is end of October is the period of performance, and that's when we have to submit this report. When we submitted for an extension related to Pump Station 3 and that funding, so that, Robin, I don't know if do we want to get into that piece?
They got to, yeah.
So we found out just this morning that from FEMA and / DEMA that they would not be funding Pump Station 3's work. They did not have any funding for that. They did say that they would be able to grant an extension on the project. They would be willing to do that. So there is that ability to not necessarily to extend this out for the purpose of just to extend it out, but to allow us to have a little more time to get all this put together. I think that was about the gist of it. They said if the board wanted to move forward,
yeah.
they could.
We could
with
fund it
self-funding.
ourselves. Yeah.
The design of renovations of Pump Station 3 and ultimately the construction.
Do you want to give 2 weeks? Would that be?
That might be too much if you've got to get it done by the end of October.
Well, that's.
Yeah, so that's the question. If the board wants to accept that extension, that would allow us to have a little bit more time to look over the report and get everything in.
Yeah, let's say 2 weeks then. What's 2 weeks from today?
Right.
October what?
8th.
Workshop day.
Maybe. Okay. We don't need a motion for that or anything, do we? Okay.
So if we're good on the report, I think the bigger piece of the discussion is the various options that we provided to you guys for the resiliency approach.
Yes. That isn't that a separate?
I think it's all part of the same.
Yeah, it's all part of the same.
Study.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So at the last, in July board meeting, it was requested that GMB provide more aesthetic options for the pump stations instead of a little bit more utilitarian nature that we presented them. Over the past 2 months, we've done some, I want to say, creative options to make it a little more aesthetic. Josh, I don't know if you have, are you able to pull up the options that we are in the board packet?
It's on the agenda.
Just for everybody to look at them together.
Number 9.
Yeah, the second. That's the first thing.
Yeah, the second one underneath it says options. So I'll go through kind of the different options. If you just want to go to the first picture slide, Josh, that'd be great. So, yes.
That's option 2.
So I'll say, we took kind of the comments we got from last meeting as well as the July meeting and tried to look at it more of I'll say a simple approach and then a little bit more, I don't want to say more aesthetic, but aesthetic options, a little more robust of a idea. So option 1A and 1B are 2 different options of a elevated platform with a decorative fence around the outside. It's more of a simplistic nature, obviously, but it hides the elevated platform inside, which brings the electrical equipment up to the critical elevation that currently we're designing to.
But what is this the circle?
Yes, the circle was the elevated platform. It would be.
Why is it round? It takes up twice as much space. Why isn't it just? It seems like a lot of wasted space on that, and that's a pretty big 12 by 12, something that's in somebody's front yard.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly change it. It was a combination of 2 options. So the options that we had previously discussed, which was the elevated platform up high and a round circle to try and minimize the space of it being up in the sky. No, that's maybe too high.
A little too high.
A little too high. But being as high as it is, all this can be workshopped. It's more of getting a direction of, is this the way we want to go? Is a different way we want to go? We can certainly make it a square platform and reduce it, but there is electrical clearances from the equipment that need to be met, which is 3 feet plus or minus from each panel.
Is it from the front of the panel or all the way around?
From the front of the panel, like any panel that you've got to get into. Yeah.
Right.
3 foot.
So the current little dog houses you open the doghouse doors
Mhm.
and that gives you the 3 feet.
Correct.
Okay.
So these two options, it's the elevated platform with a little bit of decorative fencing to help hide it. It allows the
I think these are
floodwaters.
Taking up too much space and,
Yeah.
you know, I think they'd be very intrusive for anybody's property.
Understood. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I guess, you know, there's a way to shrink it down skinny wise if you're looking at the panel front and back,
Well, you
but you
can
still
have-
gotta have access up to
Yeah,
it.
you can have it closer to the gate, to the edge, so that when you open the gate to the unit, you're right there. You don't have,
But if you're elevated, you don't have 3 feet.
but you can have a platform that come up when it's elevated too. Or you just can't do it off the ladder. But
Yeah.
you don't need to have that whole space as a circle like that.
Well, I think there needs to be a way to be able to get in there and maintain that structure if need be. I mean, I guess we could put in removable gate or,
But what I'm thinking of is if the platform is here,
You got panels,
controls here,
control panels on both sides of,
you wouldn't need to get around it.
Right. Put them together side by side.
So,
Well, at some level, it doesn't need to be a single pole that's going up and down. It could be some other configuration that, you
This one
know, was
is
more
going up and
convenient.
down.
Huh?
This is not a floating one.
Well, okay, but the assumption here is that there's a big pole in the middle. What's there?
Right.
yes, I mean, the idea is that it's a concrete pillar that holds that structure up. You know, it's maybe not as impressive here on Hoornkill, but you know, some of these other options, like specifically Pump Station 5 on Cedar in California, it needs to raise up 8 feet off the ground. It's, you know, we got to have some level of ability to hold that structure up there. And that's the hard thing about trying to create one option that suits here, there, and, you know, be a consistent
and
option.
designing by committee is tough.
So, I mean, yeah, so option, yeah, this is option 1A, which is a wood decorative fence. The wood would be removable, but it would allow floodwaters to come in and permeate the system, so it wouldn't, you know, wash away necessarily.
and the electrical equipment is at the bottom of the electrical equipment is at the critical elevation.
Correct, yes.
The wet well is not beneath it. Is it
No, the
somewhere
wet
else?
wells, you know,
Okay,
wet wells off to the side somewhere.
okay.
I don't have any problem with the wood. I mean, I like, you know, we've had other ones around town that look fine.
Mhm.
I don't think people are opposed to them, just the area.
Understood on the
that
sides,
is
yeah.
just too much, particularly like the one on Ocean View Boulevard. It's a lot in itself. So it's, who cares? That's your front yard. You have a 12 by 12 fenced in area. That's not taking up.
Right, understood. I mean, if there's a way to reduce it when we get into the design, we're looking at this high conceptual level, but as we get into design, you know, it may not exactly, you know, we're trying to reduce it as best we can.
I just don't think a circle with things that you have to get around that all 360 degrees is very efficient.
I got you.
And if the electrical equipment above the critical elevation needs to be serviced in bad weather, does it need an enclosure or we just wear
I'll say
raincoats or?
the direction we heard from the July board meeting was we did not like the roof on top of the structure.
Yeah.
So that was removed.
I mean, the existing ones don't have roofs over top of them so that you.
Well, it was a tacky roof.
That person working on it, that the person working on it is covered. It's just the panel.
The panel's covered.
The panel's covered, of course. But you don't have to.
But in this
It's
picture, you know,
Yeah.
sample, it's out in the open.
Yes.
and
Correct.
somebody's standing on that elevated platform to service those panels.
And that's not,
And it's raining.
that's not a problem. Right now, they have to stand on the ground with the paddle open, and then it's raining. So
Okay.
It's the same thing.
So you don't have to, and that's okay. You don't have to protect the equipment.
I mean, I'll say ideally, you don't want rain to get inside of the panels. But having them closed up and just rain coming on it should be fine. It's just when you open it, if you have to open up things
Right.
to get into it while it's raining, that's where a little bit of an enclosure to help protect it a
Okay.
little bit would be
So a
nice.
little umbrella would be okay.
Yeah.
It would be nice, yes.
Yeah.
Little hat.
Little hat.
Okay.
You could do it like a beach umbrella,
There you go.
have it down and then pop it up in the rain.
Okay, but you're
going
gonna
out there,
use,
Bob?
Don't go.
Okay, let's move
Yeah.
on.
Option 2 is just, it's the same idea, just a little bit of a more decorative fence option. It's, there's lots of different fence types you could be. It's hard to see in this
Yeah.
picture
The
here, but
zebra solution.
Yeah.
That's kind of pretty, but it's just a
But
very,
all the equipment's visible, though.
yeah, right.
And the top of the pole is at 13 feet?
the top of this pole in this picture, this is specific to Hoornkill. This is what Hoornkill would look like, because that's the most pressing one to move forward.
Okay, and if it's at the critical elevation?
6 feet.
Yeah, the bottom of the equipment is 6 feet above the ground, so the panel's probably somewhere between 24 inches tall. So that would be 8 feet, maybe 9 feet to the top of the pole from the ground elevation.
So the platform is 3 feet above the ground
Yes.
Yes,
at Hoornkill?
at Hoornkill.
Oh, okay. And from the platform to the bottom of the equipment
Is about 3 feet.
is another 3 feet.
Correct.
Right.
So that's 6. And then 2 or 2.5, and something above that for maybe to hold the umbrella.
Maybe to hold the umbrella, yes.
Okay.
And the platform could be something that sticks out and then folds down, like an attic access or something like that.
The access to
Yeah.
that platform.
Up to that platform, as long as it's safe to get up.
Yeah. Definitely. The next option is, again, reminiscent of the floating platform. We tried our best to make it a little more aesthetic and reminiscent of a buoy in the city. It would act as a buoy in a flood. It would float up. Same concept as we had before. It's just a little bit more, again, effort to make it look like something as opposed to more utilitarian nature. It's would be framed out with a green mesh material that would allow some wind to come through, because as we put structures up, we got to worry about wind impacts on it. And in a more simplistic approach, we could add different artwork to the side, or it could look a little bit different. But that's
I like the buoy look.
And this was also at Hoornkill.
This specifically is Hoornkill, but
Another option.
This
Okay.
approach, all these are specific to Hoornkill of how they look. But this is an option that I think could be easily applied to many stations, because everything's at the ground level.
Yeah.
Constantly. When it floods, it raises up and kind of eliminates, I think, some of your concerns.
Again, I think it's much too big, you have two sides to it, so you get that room on either side of it, which makes it large. I think you could do it all facing one way.
I think
and have a platform that could fold down.
Yeah.
I think you can cut that.
when you say on this option, when you say a platform that would fold down, I'm not following that.
Well, the same thing. It would just be You
Big
have a
means a ladder
platform
that-
up at the.
The platform is there and a ladder folds down.
Then a ladder that folds down like an attic ladder.
Well,
That should be
in this option, this is, in the non-flooded option, everything's sitting on the ground. Like you can just go in and
You're
access.
floating the whole,
We're floating the
floating the
whole
whole thing.
structure up, yeah.
I
Yes.
think,
During the flood, it does not need to be accessible. The way we're approaching this is that
I
the
think that's,
station is not operational.
again, I think that's kind of overkill. Why build this huge thing to have to float, whether you can, when you can cut it down to what you're working on?
Still keep it floating, but make it smaller.
Make it much smaller.
Yeah, I mean, this is 19 feet, 6 inches.
And this one could be a lot smaller because you're working at ground level. So it'd be akin to opening the doors, right?
But you
And
still have,
having the 3 foot of clearance in front of the panels.
yeah, it could be cut back to that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll say it's 19 feet tall in this picture because that's showing it elevated, floating at 4.5 feet up. So it would actually be, I mean, it's still a tall structure. I'm not, you can't get me wrong there, but
Yeah.
you know,
no,
I'm
it's the bottoms, it's the footprint that we're objecting to.
understood. I mean, the footprint, I mean, while it can be skinnied up some, I mean, there's still got to be enough flotation in that structure to float the weight up. You got to have enough buoyant force to get it up, which is part of the problem. And having the equipment centered in the middle allows the stability of it to be more, centered of gravity.
Okay,
But the platform's gonna have a lot of weight to it too. So you're making it more float. You need more buoyancy.
It's a hard balance of size to maintain, you know, your ability to float in the water, but also hold the equipment. You know, it's a delicate balance there of trying to optimize that as best as possible. Again, at a high level conceptual, if we can make this, you know, this is what we've got. If we can make it smaller, we will do our best to do that.
But it's floating off of these 4 posts.
Correct. And again, you know, at a conceptual level, that's what we think it needs to be. If there's an opportunity to reduce that down during design to have 3 posts or 2 posts to make it a little less prominent, you know, that would be,
1.5.
we would try to do that.
I don't know. I know you like it, but I don't. I just don't think I'd want that in my front yard either. I'd rather just have something that it's obviously, I'd rather have something if it need be and smaller, even if it's obvious that it's a utility. I mean, we're trying to make it look pretty, but we're making it grandiose.
Moving on to option 3. This is just a small masonry structure that would surround a platform. Obviously, you know, again, to Press's point, making that interior structure smaller, if possible, you know, we would definitely try and do that. But this would allow the board / whoever the opportunity to put some sort of artwork on the outside, make it look however you want. You could paint it, you could make it look, you know, whatever you would like it to look like in the context of where it is. There would be flood panels on that structure to allow it to flood during rain or during flood events and allow the flood water to leave. So we're designing it to flood, but designing it to protect the equipment at the same time.
And again, this is Hoornkill.
This is Hoornkill, yes.
do you have an order of magnitude cost for the difference between these different options?
Yeah, so as we go up in option number, the cost goes up.
Goes up, okay.
I don't have an exact number
Yeah.
per se, but as we go further and get more robust in what we're trying to look like, it's more costly.
Okay, that's helpful.
That's noted in the, like, option 1, fenced, least costly.
Ah, okay,
Yes.
yes, right.
Option 3B, you know, we drew again on kind of historical of Lewis, of the Zwannendale Museum. I don't necessarily know that we would want little Zwannendales everywhere in the city, but, you know, it gives you an option to put, you know, something like that where you want. Again, you know, kind of just a idea of our architect.
Did you talk to Art Bloom?
Did not,
Serious?
I mean, no, we did not. I did not talk to Art and Bloom just due to the nature of trying to get this to you guys in a reasonable time frame. I think with some of the artwork, we would be able to incorporate them. The next option we have, option 4. Again, I'm not certain this is something you'd like, but we drew on the nature of Lewis and the observation tower at Cape and Logan. This would again protect the structure. Everything would be super elevated, higher than probably what it needs to be now, and more so than the critical elevation. But that's just kind of a factor of having to design, you know, in the way it was designed now to have the electrical equipment up above where it needs to be.
I kind of like that one too. I mean, I climb the observation tower from time to time.
Do you want one in your backyard?
Well, I don't know.
And then the last option we have, which is a little bit more of a rudimentary drawing, Richard and I and Robin and Sharon met earlier this month on the 12th to discuss an option that looked like a lighthouse, but would have a way to move the equipment up as needed at times of flood. This would be a little bit more labor intensive of an option, I think. However, it solves some of the questions that Richard was presenting of, you know, we could have the equipment be up high in times of need, but it also comes down when we need it to be to service it and not have to worry about the access issues. It's basically, you know, a floating electrical panel on a pulley system that allows it to fly up and invert perpendicular to the ground, or I guess parallel to the ground, to reduce the height of the structure that, you know, is needed to support it, because now instead of having to have your 24 by 24 inch panel or 30 inch panel vertical, it's, you know, now horizontal, so you're only needing to elevate it 6 inches instead of 30 inches.
So if we could make this look like a buoy, it's only 3 feet 6 inches across. That's the smallest option yet.
I mean, total width is 7 feet wide.
Oh.
That's just one side of that.
Oh, shucks. Okay.
Hexagon, octagon, not octagon, hexagon.
But you could do an octagon.
Could do an octagon, yes.
Gives you more options to open
Yeah,
portions of the octagon walls.
where is the access? Is it not shown?
It's not shown. It would just be a doorway that you would open up to get in there. It would maintain the appropriate widths for the panels, or your clearances from the panels, and it would, you know, again, at the time of need, you would, you know, send it up where it could technically it could always be stored up in that
always be up,
elevation.
so
And then when you need to come in and maintain it, you bring it down and maintain it, and then send it back up.
That would make more sense. So you're not, because you're doing other stuff when there's a storm coming. Yeah. But this is the most expensive.
I think it's on par with the observation tower, just for the fact of needing the structural ability there to support that panel, you know, to the correct elevation.
Yeah.
we're thinking it would be some sort of aluminum metal structure, but it would need to be anchored to something on the ground. So there's a lot of, kind of work that goes into that, which is obviously equals cost.
So really, Hoornkill is what we need to deal with now. I think I get the sense that we're not going to pick just one design. But what do other people think?
Well, I'd like the wood fenced elevated platform, but cut down to a more reasonable size. I think you could do it very easily, and probably least expensive of anything.
Yeah, if you put the boxes side by side and it's not circular. And
Yeah.
Well, I like the lighthouse without the mechanism. Just put the electronics up in where the light is supposed to be.
I mean,
It's a little more expensive, but it doesn't look like a pump station, and won't offend very many people. So
So what's it look like when it's raised up? Like
it's going to look like a short lighthouse, but there's lots of them around.
What's the total height?
Would depend on the critical elevation for different pump stations, right?
It would.
Yeah.
I mean, at Hoornkill, I mean,
Well, it depends on what zone you're in.
Yeah, at Hoornkill, that's got to be raised up. The panel's got to be 5 feet above the ground,
Okay.
or I think 6 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
So we could. There's got to be a level of looking proportional. So it's. I don't have an exact height for you at this moment. I can figure out one and get back to you, but at this moment I don't.
Yeah, I can't quite picture it.
I mean, I suspect it would be somewhere 10 to 12 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
Just off my hunches.
And this is all as opposed to just going with our current box that opens and elevating it so to put it in perspective, Yeah. Which take up a lot less space, but are ugliest sin, right?
Well, I think that's the closest to it. It's just too
Yes.
big.
And plus, I agree with Richard about, it seems like there should be some protection over those electrical boxes because rain has a way of getting into things.
Yeah, as long as you had something coming out over the box when the doors
Yes.
open, like there are now,
Right.
you'd have to have that. I'd like to know more about the lighthouse, but I'm with.
It's a clever idea.
Yeah, it is a clever idea, but you have to go out and do it. It's not as.
Unless you left it at the elevated, except once a month which would be a
Yes.
good idea anyway.
Yes.
Once a month you bring
Right.
it down and
Yeah,
then
and
it works.
And that's true, yeah.
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 Okay, there are my two thoughts. A lot of work.
Yes.
It's a tough assignment. I'm not minimizing it because I don't know where I'd give it.
Well, I have an opinion because I probably am the guilty party to the pretty pump stations. And you've been very creative. My question is, when you open up the doors, so when I've had to put electrical in for water treatment, we use the doors. Okay, so you open them, but instead of them being blank inside, they actually had all the electronics on the doors.
The doors.
So then we got to have a much more narrow facility. Does that make sense? Like, so think of it like a trailhead sign, okay? And so there's this trailhead sign. Well, it's actually a latch. You open the doors, and inside the doors actually had all your panel equipment.
Well, what did you do about the overhang, like we were just talking about?
All the electric panel was enclosed. So think about the door opens and there's a panel. Think about it like a safety box, okay, on the inside of the panels. And then, so all the electric was always covered until the day you have to go in there and maintain it, obviously. But 24/7, your electric equipment was protected.
Well, these would all be too. I don't
Yeah.
understand the
Well,
difference.
there's no reason for a roof. I was just reacting, but I'm getting blank stares and I'm not.
No,
So,
yeah,
you know,
I think we still have to have something coming out
to cover.
to cover it when the doors are open. What's
Door-
covering all these panels over here, electrical panels, is there a roof above the whole open?
There wasn't,
No?
because we found that panels were always covered, so that only when you go in to maintain, yeah, it could be pouring rain, I get that, but the panels, all the equipment was always protected. It had its little cover because it was a box attached to the wall, okay?
Are you suggesting, like, I'm just gonna use something we all are familiar with, the little cedar structures?
Yes,
So when you open up that wood door, there's electrical on that, but when you close it, it's protected by that roof of that cedar
Yeah.
structure?
Yes.
Is that kind of what you're thinking?
yes, or just even a metal, like a metal that you don't see from the outside. This is when Charlie would say, Amy, you're not an engineer, okay, so you can use that language. But I'm just saying it was very simplified. So it goes to what Press is saying, that the equipment was in the tiniest possible, yet still serviceable.
So it's like having the lighthouse or any one of these, a closet,
Yes,
and you open up the doors and you can go into the closet, close the doors, and then open the cabinets inside, from the inside. You need a light, but
Gotcha.
is that
it got
more
us
like
down, yes, it got us down to the smallest possible. That was how we, who had the same kind of conversation, was something that nobody wanted in their front yard. And when they saw that we did that, it was just like, okay, that seems, so it was more like the wooden,
right?
but it could be the lighthouse or anything else that you
Yeah,
guys
the
just.
downside or the caution is in a flooding condition, you really need to make sure your doors
Yeah.
are absolutely waterproof and
And
floodproof.
this was in a flood zone, with a river, so you knew it was gonna be flooded. So it was also elevated, so it looked like a trailhead, okay, up on posts. And we actually put signage on the outside of the doors, so it served another function. Or art could be there or something else, or just cedar.
I'd be interested to see a picture, if you
I'll see
could
if I can get a
help me
picture.
conceptualize that a little
Sure.
bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe Press might want to see that too.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
Yeah,
Okay. I will
because I'm
send-
having a hard time with how you get 3 feet in front if you're elevated and if you're on a ladder.
Stilts.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a pipe, okay. But then that 3 feet, the 3 feet is to what? In other words, we were always told the 3 feet had to be 3 feet to access, like you couldn't have a fence or anything else around it.
I think it's you need, and I'm not an electrical engineer, so I'm just going off of what I've heard, 3 feet from the panel to yourself to be able to provide protection in case of, electrical arc flashing.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why we opened the doors, so we could save some of that 3 feet.
Understood.
I'll get pictures, I'll ask the former mayor
Yeah.
to send me some.
And notwithstanding what Amy just said, and I'd like to see that. My two were the lighthouse, I think, is an interesting thing. I'd like to see that developed. And the first one, the wooden gates, I think it's the simplest, and
Yeah.
I think it would be okay. The others, I think, we're kind of stretching it too much. I think it's making it more of a.
You don't like the nun, huh? The buoy?
Well, someplace, you know.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe you're gonna come back, but right now we're talking about Henlopen.
Hoornkill.
So, to Press's point, let's see if we can make it narrower and whatever, and try that. And then I kind of agree with what Press said too. For those that don't have to get raised very much, the first one isn't too bad.
Yeah.
You know, and not everyone, Barbara, if I get a lighthouse, you can have a buoy next, okay? You know,
I want an observation tower.
well, okay, you can have an observation tower, but
Put the telescope.
we need to
up.
find where the electronics go and where the pumps go and power feed and all that sort of stuff, and then make it look as like it fits in or is part of the community rather than and they don't all have to look the same. And they'll be years apart, so you know, the one at your house can be determined at that time, or you know, maybe somebody will see one of these and then have a better idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to hide it, make it look like it belongs there is difficult. Then you're creating a sculpture or something like that that they're trying to make look pretty, and that's, I guess we're asking a tough thing to do.
It's difficult.
Yeah, and
To still be usable when,
yeah,
Yeah.
particularly if it's on somebody's front yard. I mean, they may not like that at all, or be able to sell their house when they move.
So should we, are you looking for more direction from the Lewis Art Committee? Or what are you gonna do next?
I
It's
mean,
kind of-
if I don't know those, what we would want, what you guys would want to do, but if I'm hearing the direction of option 1A or B, which is a fenced-in structure with the elevated platform specifically for Hoornkill, we can address the other things as they come up.
And trunk.
Yes, and optimize it as best as
Yes.
possible.
Yeah.
If that's the direction, I can move forward in that direction. If you,
Okay, and that's how high? How, Hoornkill is-
6 feet to the bottom of the panel.
Okay.
So it potentially could be,
And how much more to the top of the umbrella?
I mean, it could be to the top, say 9 to 8 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Again, we gotta work to
It's
optimize.
just arithmetic.
Yeah.
And who pays for the, I'm gonna call it landscaping around 3 corners of it, like that diagram? Is that, when VPW does that, is that part of your budget? I'm really just wondering, so, because I'm sure I'm gonna get that question.
We haven't in the past.
No.
Now, the one on Ocean View, the people living next door put things around it, a little vegetable garden and a planting bed on their own. I think I got permission from the city. I mean, the board did one time, years back.
With Hoornkill, it is a very small site and it's located in the right of way, so there's not a lot of extra space
Okay.
for some ancillary things, not ancillary.
I know what you mean.
But, cause like we still have to have the wet well, we still have to have the force main and the sewer coming into it, so we don't wanna have any plantings over top of that.
But at the location of the pump station is now like at the end of the road,
Correct.
so it's not next to people's property.
It's not in the front of people's house, in the house like it is now. Correct.
And that's why we kind of designed the layout. There was an option to put a pump station middle way of this, but it was going to be in front of somebody's house. So
Back where it was.
we decided to push it to the end of the road.
So we have a public hearing on annexation, I think it's the 13th. Do you want to be part of that public hearing, that you just say this, or I don't know how you normally do that. I don't want to surprise those residents, you don't want to surprise those residents.
But do you want Robin or Sharon to be there
I
to
think
do that?
so.
I think that'd be.
it just
somebody-
seems like it's
I think it'd be
information.
nice to,
Yeah.
because those questions are gonna come
They're
up.
gonna come up, yeah, I'd rather get ahead of that.
That's a good idea,
And
and maybe they would prefer like wood fence versus metal fence,
Yeah,
or
exactly, I mean,
ask their opinion.
Don't give them too many options.
No,
that's-
no, just those two.
They'll be worse than us.
The old pump station is being removed.
Yes.
They understand that.
I don't know if they understand it, but they will. Yeah,
That would be
that's
helpful.
yeah.
So when is the, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 13th, I'll get back to you, I'm pretty sure it's right before council, they just said that today. So it's probably around 5 o'clock on the 13th. Or maybe it's 4, I'll get back to you, Robert
Okay, thank you.
and Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have to follow up on the 3, or are we just not going to, the price increase, or we're just not going to do that for now?
Yeah, I mean that's a question for you guys.
Are we just going to go back to what the GHC report said, put this door on to seal it up? That's what from the report. That's
Yeah,
about
so-
it, wasn't it?
Yeah, so as part of what we're supposed to do in this grant for Pump Station 3 is to put in a flood door, or hook up a security alarm for that station, as well as provide a generator or a bypass pump size for that station. I guess, yeah, the question is, do we still want to go down that road and have that be a, quote unquote interim measure for that station? Or do we want to, I guess the board, would the board want to go with the full design of something at some point in the future, and we elect to not do that now? To do these extra improvements now?
That's
I
Pilot
think-
Town Marina?
Yeah,
Yes,
Correct.
correct.
I think we've got enough on our table.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there an expectation that we are doing something and putting on a door if that's,
The expectation
Simple.
from FEMA/DEMA is that this gets designed. It doesn't have to go to construction. It's just right now they want, they're expecting that part of the design. If we go back and tell them the board is going in a different direction, to be determined in the future.
Are we talking about 3?
Pump Station 3, correct?
Yeah, okay.
That can be done. We can revise the grant accordingly in that sense, that the board's gonna do something in the future.
Okay.
If you guys want, or it can be done now in terms of design.
That'd be another project.
That would be
To
another
redo it,
project.
so.
The design, that's now, that can be
Yeah.
for these three items.
Yeah,
Well, why not do the design now?
it's the whole thing, it's a whole new pump station, it's a whole different project.
Robin, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we go for the additional design, that's the additional money that they did not fund us for.
Oh.
So we would have to pay for that out of pocket.
There's no more brick money,
Correct.
No.
at least right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the door and the GHD recommendations are already included in the money that we did get.
Then we should go with that.
just
Is
to
that,
do it if we?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Do we need a motion?
No.
Okay.
okay.
And we're good with the extension. I'm assuming we would go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. All right, we're still on old business, guys. Number 10, we open forum general discussion on the wastewater treatment plant long-range plan update. Tom's name is there. We are still working on the agreements. We're still working on the agreement. We are working towards having a workshop in early October. Okay, enough for that. Open forum general discussion on the approval of the 24-25 fiscal year single audit report. That's Kim and Richard.
So this was from the finance committee. This is a required additional audit whenever you receive over $750,000 in federal funds. Next year it does increase to $1 million, but we're still going to be over that. It's given to the federal government for their tracking. And there were a couple questions that came in about it, and we have at the end of the audit, page 9, of if we are a, why can't I find it? Do you remember what page that was that you had the question?
Oh, page 9?
Yeah, I think it was page 9.
Yeah.
Let me go to my email. I didn't have this written down, guys.
Are we a low risk audit team?
Yes, thank you. And it's marked no. That's because this is only our second year needing to do this. So it takes 3 years. So I'm not sure if it'll change to yes for a third year or if it'll be the year after that we're low risk.
How much impact does that have on this?
I don't know if that makes them flag it that we're new to doing it for them to review. I don't know their process and
Okay. See,
and their, yeah.
it doesn't help
their
us or
risk.
hurt us as much as.
Yeah.
Why, maybe it's not, since it's not approved, is that why the dates are Xed out? Okay.
Yes. And then this is of March 31st, so as we're using these funds, it's going to change for next year. Like, we will completely deplete the COVID-19, the ARPA money.
Okay.
So that will actually be like a 0 at the end for next year to show that we used it.
Any questions, anyone? Do I have a motion to approve the single audit report?
I make a motion that we approve the single audit report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Next one, open forum general discussion on request for support to address stormwater improvements at 25 and 27 Devries Circle. This is Robin and Mike.
I guess this is just a follow-up from the request that we received last month from the owners of 25 and 27 Devries Circle regarding the stormwater improvements that have been proposed by the Sussex Conservation District. The district has come up with a plan to do some work at these properties to improve the stormwater management. They received the quotes as noted in the request. approximately $50,000. Soil conservation is granting $20,000 towards that work. And they are requesting that the city and the BPW contribute to the remaining $30,000 needed to fully fund the project. Sharon and I had a leadership meeting with the mayor and Ellen Lorraine. I got the impression that the mayor and the city had not received the request from the owners. So I gave them a copy of that evening. So that's I appeared the board. I mean the city mayor and council has not addressed that from their portion yet. As we've noted in the past, we've done research on this area. We do not have any easements, and it's a private drainage area. It looks like some of the work that soil conservation is looking to do is fill in some of the swale areas after putting some installation of piping. There's an existing corrugated pipe in an area now. They will remove it and put that in. They also, in the quote, looks like they're going to be putting in 4 catch basins along that piping area. So I'm assuming it's to catch any of the runoff from the trail area. And I guess that will go inside the piping and into the current ditch area, I like to call it, behind the homes along Devries Circle to Savannah Road.
So they're removing old or existing corrugated piping and installing new corrugating piping?
There is an area that has an existing corrugated piping in it right now. Supposedly it's deteriorating. The plan is to remove that and install a new pipe there. Plus, where there's a swale area behind the property at 27. There's a ditch area. I think that was there for a while. I don't know when that was put in place. I know DelDOT did do some renovations when they changed it to the bike path, because they did put some manholes in and run a pipe to the swale. As far as that swale behind 27, I don't know if it's all on the 27 property or if some of it's on DelDOT property. But if some of this, potentially, you could say if DelDOT has drainage in that area, maybe the request is also go to DelDOT and ask for some more money from DelDOT.
Yeah, we do not have easements. This is private property or DelDOT property. I think it's fantastic that they got SCD to contribute towards this work, but as a homeowner, it's the homeowner's responsibility to take care of drainage on their own property. So, Mike, can you?
Yeah, no, I think
am I right about that?
That's correct. And so without a BPW easement, BPW doesn't have authority to enter the property, and the BPW doesn't have the responsibility. Now, again, if the BPW were to take over that would be a requirement that there be an easement. But without an easement, it's not part of the BPW system. It's a private drainage area, and it's a private responsibility. This was on the agenda last month, as the board recalls. No action was taken, and so because of that, it essentially is tabled.
Yes.
And so the board can table it again if you want, and then it's back on next month's agenda, or you take action in favor or against. But I think you wanted to take the opportunity last time to get some more information. You have more information. We're happy to answer questions, but it's in front of the board tonight for a decision.
Comments, discussion, anyone? No, the public comment is at the end.
The only exception on this is, since this is it's not public comment technically, they are an applicant, they're a request. The only thing I would say is again, board did hear last month, so if you have something new to add, it's up to the will of the board, but it would typically be limited to new information being provided.
I think we'd be willing to hear new information. Identify yourself and your address.
Lauren McNulty, 27 Devries Circle. So the information I want to provide is if this does get tabled, like the clock is ticking because Sussex Conservation District did agree, as you said, to kind of contribute some funds, but this offer expires in 90 days. So that'll be November 6th. I do understand your stance that this is private property, so you wouldn't have anything to do with it. But as new homeowners, like this is a huge burden for us. So we would be willing to even try to meet halfway if you're willing to contribute, a third, and we contribute a third, and Sussex Conservation contributes a third. That would be, extremely helpful just to kind of get this taken care of, so it's not just an ongoing issue that keeps going. We're not looking for a free handout, but we are looking for some help in correcting this issue. So anything you could do would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Hello, Michael Deldio, also 27 Devries Circle. I appreciate you guys hearing everything out, and some of you have been out to the property, been in conversation with Robin, and apparently a new shirt. So just wanted to follow up on some of Robin's comments. So part of the ditch that runs behind our property on 27 is on private property, and part of it is on state property, which we assume. So when we bought the property, there was no indication that this ditch was shared responsibility or anything along those lines. So I have spent countless hours reaching out to DELDOT, the city, BPW, and everyone has kind of pushed me back to another direction. Even though part of the ditch is on private property, it's being fed by I don't know whose property that is. Is that county, or where is that feed coming in from?
DELDOT.
DELDOT, okay. Yep. So in my conversations with DELDOT, they basically said, we're not doing anything about it. There's no easement on record. There's no previous property owner record. There's nothing. No one knows where this ditch came from, when it got put in, who's responsible for it. Everyone's just kind of passing the buck. So I don't feel as a homeowner that it should be entirely my responsibility, to maintain this when it's being fed by public drainage. So I just appreciate that you guys would consider that as well in the decision.
I thought Dickie indicated that at some point early on, I don't know if it was DELDOT or whoever was going to clean it up. I mean, I thought there was a commitment that was written. It doesn't sound like it.
I don't think there's anything that is in writing anywhere. And in the conversations that I've had with DELDOT, they've said that they're not responsible for it. The understanding that I had from them was that they were in some type of agreement with the city that when they put in the bike trail, after that, the city would be responsible for maintaining everything off of the bike trail. And that's where DELDOT has kind of just washed their hands of everything and said it's up to the city of Lewis now.
And I'll let the mayor speak to that, but yes, been the old city manager, Amory Townsend, there was a discussion about that back and forth.
Okay.
Whether when the city took over the bike trail, whether the city just took over the bike trail or the whole 66 feet of right-of-way.
Right.
That was DELDOT looks at it as, they took it all over. The city, I think, says, no, we just agreed to do the trail.
Right.
So, and I don't know if that's ever been, if that's.
All I know is every time we want to do something, DELDOT says we have to go to them. So I think we're all in this circle.
Right.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
here? Is there anything that you could do with the Conservation District to give us all a little more time?
I can request that with them. I mean, they've been, out of everyone that we've worked with, they've been the only one to propose a plan, resolution, and contribute funding. So we're very happy working with them. And, we'd like to, go to completion with them.
Sure. Because I would like to try to see if we can get DELDOT to answer as well, keep you guys in the loop on that. Not that we can necessarily be any more successful, but if it's city land, then city has to have some voice. If it's not ours, as frustrating as that is, we wouldn't have a voice, just like these guys wouldn't.
Well, the other thing that's been raised in conversations with Sussex Conservation and other folks is that the section that is between the properties is apparently within potential collapsing. So apparently, according to Sussex Conservation, once that collapses, water will back up into the ditch that's behind 27 Devries and then ultimately onto Kings Highway. So that was the conversation we had with Sussex Conservation, that if this does collapse or when it ultimately collapses, does it then become the city's problem?
So just one last question on the
Sure.
title or deed. Before you purchased, is there information on who has what ownership?
Nope,
or is
there's nothing.
There's nothing
No.
on the deed.
And we even had our closing attorney try to research it. He was unable to find anything.
Okay.
And drainage is tough sometimes because there's not always an easement. And so if there isn't an easement, there is common law that addresses riparian rights. And again, if it's the private property, the drainage pattern may be required just because it's part of a natural drainage way, and impeding that, impacting that could affect where that water goes, and that could impute liability. And so, just because there's not an easement doesn't mean you can do whatever you want with the drainage. But the point there is if there's not an easement, the city or the BPW wouldn't have the responsibility. It all would come back to the private property owner. And I think that's the challenge from the board. I can only speak for the board. I can't speak for the city. But from the board's perspective, without an easement, there's nothing on the board's plate for this.
Okay, it would also seem that you should deliver something formally to the city.
Mr. Bryan hand-delivered a letter to the city.
And we got that.
On the same day that it was delivered to BPW.
I think that our conversation would be very similar to this conversation.
Well, and that's why we're
Right,
including,
yes.
yeah, and I followed up with your office via email and didn't receive a response, so.
Yeah, Mr. Bryan has his hand up.
Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Rick Bryan here, 25 Devries Circle. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I appreciate Michael coming up there and speaking on our behalf. I couldn't make it tonight. I know Mr. Lee had a question about, he thought I'd worked it out with DelDOT. Yes, we gave DelDOT an easement when they put the bike trail in to access for stormwater. Of course, they think they're done. If BPW wants an easement, we'll be glad to give you an easement. But we feel like this problem is only getting worse and worse. I mean, look at all your new developments around here. It's all coming this way. This whole east quadrant of Lewes is flowing through private property. I think the BPW needs to accept some responsibility. And I know Mr. Hoffman is giving us legal advice about this and that, but it needs to be fixed. And this is just more kicking the can down the road. DelDOT, you'll be 6 months getting them to tell you anything. I'm ready to sign the agreement, send it back to Sussex Conservation District with or without the BPW. I'm at that point. Or just fill it completely and be done with it and let you guys fix it. I'm at the end of my rope. And I know this young couple next door to me, they would love to clean up their backyard and have a yard for their dogs. And it's just not fair. You guys, you need to make a decision. I sat here and watched your entire meeting tonight, and it's just like a lot of talk. And I know that's what it takes to get through bureaucratic information, but this has gone on long enough. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Barbara, just to build up, just for clarification, so I'm not offering legal advice, certainly to the property owners, and I would actually encourage, if you are going to take action to alter the drainage, that you do speak with an attorney and make sure you're within, that you understand the parameters of that affect that, because there is a body of law, and so my point in this conversation is there is a body of law that does govern riparian rights and what property owners can and cannot do in drainage ways. I can't offer you legal advice, so I'm not doing that, but I do encourage you to pursue that. as it pertains to the board, what I can tell you is there isn't an easement, and without an easement, you don't have any responsibility. Whether you choose to undertake that is the will of the board, but without an easement, you don't have the obligation.
We also have policies that we need to follow, and that, you know, if we make an exception for one, we're setting precedent that could be difficult. We all know that with climate change, we're having more storms, more frequently, of greater intensity, and we're all coping on, well, many of us are coping on our own properties with how you deal with the stormwater and putting in more pervious surfaces, you know, rain gardens, things like that, to deal with it. It's a property owner's responsibility. Unless the board feels otherwise, I think we'll just wish the property owners best of luck and happiness that SCD is willing to help pay for some of the work, and you know, hope that things get better.
If you are going to take action, we do need to entertain a motion.
Okay, do I have a motion that, what would the motion be?
Motion to, you could
Deny
motion to
the
approve or
request?
motion to deny.
Motion to deny the request, do I have one?
Make a motion that we deny the request at this time.
I have a second?
Second, I'll second.
Okay.
I think we've been, it's tough. We've been through this for so long. I know Dickie and you haven't been here very long, but we've been all over this. We've gone, done everything we can legally do or under our management. I guess we could go over and above, but I don't think we should do it because there's so many people out there. There's so many locations throughout this town that are like this. And if we started this precedent, I have somebody that I know in my family that has a problem. So I don't think we want to start this because it would be difficult to stop it, and it would set a precedent.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 And just for the record, any opposed?
Any opposed?
And no abstentions. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Next, we finally get on to new business. Open forum general discussion on the final acceptance of Mariners Retreat.
I think we still have a couple. I'm looking at number 13.
Yeah, 13. Pump station 17.
Oh, on mine it's, okay.
Good try. Good try.
Okay. I'm working on the old agenda, sorry. All right, GMB's letter of options and proposal for pump station 17, abandonment and gravity sewer project.
Good evening, Mayor, or not Mayor and Council. Apologies, Ben Hearn with GMB again. So at the last board meeting, it was requested that we revise the prices to include the trash rack system to help with the ragging problem that is currently occurring at pump station 17, which is located in front of the Hulling Cove community. So we have added that price in there. It's approximately $25,000 is what we've estimated based off of quotes or a quote we've received. We also went through and updated, we updated that in all the options just to have a good equal comparison because the trash rack would be required in all options, as well as updated the O&M costs, noting that there would be additional manpower hours required for maintaining the basket. I did talk with Inframark and they indicated that there would be, and the number just eludes me, 2 to 3 hours, I think, a month to maintain that trash rack system. That's what they've seen elsewhere in the system. Kind of depends on the flows, the amount of ragging and stuff that comes in, but that's kind of what they estimated to be. So in the end, I think the consensus from the last board meeting was going forward with putting in gravity sewer back to pump station 34, which is in the back of the Hullen Cove development, which was installed back in 2017-ish as part of the Savannah Place sewer extension. So unless something is, changed with the board's opinion on that, assuming that's still correct.
And this is another case where citizens are clogging the thing with rag. And I'm surprised we can't do anything about it, because spending with the engineering, it's going to be $550,000 because people won't do the right thing. And I think you felt that we've done everything we can do to avoid it or get those people from stopping.
We've reached out, done the education.
Hell of a lot of money.
I've shown them nasty pictures, and it's hard to get everybody all, because out there at 17, it's Hullen Cove. The residents there, if they don't go to the community center or they don't attend the meetings, then they don't pay attention to anything. Because I think everything kind of goes through one office there. I don't believe that they have individual.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So I have to go through the management system. So if the management system doesn't relay it to the residents, then we're kind of stuck.
I guess we don't have any way of charging them for this, Mike.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, we're just talking about the ragging that causes us to spend $550,000 to replace a pumping station that is probably fine if the rags weren't there.
Yeah, I have a note to look into that and I'll follow up with the board.
Because I think it would be.
That's not the only,
Yeah, I would say that's not the only issue of the station. There's a lot of issues. As you can see, option one would be replacement of the existing pumps and electrical equipment that's approximately 40 years old now at this point. And I believe they are original, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Do you have an idea of what they would cost to, is this?
So this cost is replacement of the existing station pumps, electrical equipment, upgrading it to 3-phase power, as well as we figured while the station is down, we should do some structural improvements to the station, kind of rehab the station while we're doing this larger upgrade, because to replace the pumps, we're at to put in new guide rails, elbows, all that stuff down in the station.
So, would there be any additional costs that you'd be putting into this that wouldn't normally be in a pumping station? I mean, are we doing extra heavy pumps or anything?
I would say no. Like in option one, it still includes the trash rack system. It's just upgrading to a more modern day station.
Okay, that helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I mean, I think the bright spot is at the end of the day, you eliminate one entire station. Yeah. So that's one less.
Of all these options, this replacement, I mean, repumping it together, rerunning it to the other station is obviously the solution. You don't want to rebuild this or build a new one someplace else.
Especially you have one, probably 300 yards away.
But this isn't in our budget, is it?
Nope. Okay, so we want a motion to do this? Is that basically what we're asking for? Or to put this on the
that's a question,
project?
Is a motion to do this, and then ultimately, do you want to fund it yourself? Do you want to go through SRF funding for it, which would be applying for it in January, February coming up, or at a later date somewhere down the line?
We'd probably have a pretty good chance, wouldn't we? SRF.
I would say you're pretty much. can't say guaranteed, but you're pretty well set to get a loan, probably not grant forgiveness.
Because also part of this package, you see that there is an estimate for design from GMB.
Yeah, I added that to the note.
Yeah, but that would take approximately 3 months to do the design and stuff, so.
Yeah.
That would still put you in this fiscal year, but maybe could it be delayed to put into next fiscal year? Because you're talking 3 months. If you're talking 3 months, what, December, January timeframe to get the design stuff done.
I think we should apply for SRF funding.
Yes, I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
But that would be in February.
February.
Yeah. So,
Did we
so again,
approve
the budget, the budget portion for the construction wouldn't be part of until next year. Next fiscal
So
year.
are you suggesting we should approve the design work now and apply for the construction, or is this, or do we have to delay it all if we're going for
No.
funding?
I don't think I would delay at all. I think I'd say move forwards, that knowing that. Yeah.
So would the design cost be covered if we waited?
Traditionally, the board has included the design costs in the loan application.
So that would help us if we waited.
I mean, it would help you in the sense that, it would be spread, that design cost would be spread out over the life of the loan, yes.
Just to clarify what the ask is, because I think that's what these questions are getting
Yes.
at. Because
Yes.
you have two documents that are included in the material. One is GMB's proposal for the design service, essentially. And the other one, there are 3 options that could be incorporated with the design. And then there's with the SRF application. The application is going to be dependent on the design, presumably. And then you make the application. So the ask tonight is whether the board wants to move forward to authorize GMB per their proposal to go forward with the design, correct?
Design of option 3 as directed by the board last.
And then that was so it specifically picked the design and then your proposal
Correct.
corresponds to that. So
But
that's
what I was getting at, would it be better to include their fee in the application?
I think you typically do that, though, right?
Traditionally, the board has included design fee as part of the loan loan NOI application.
Can you go back if you do it before we have the approval in the loan application?
I'm not 100% certain, but I believe the answer is no.
Cause us to lose that ability to put it in the loan.
Yeah, I think that's what Ben's saying is correct. I think if we start the design, we're on the hook ourselves for the $37,000.
So I'm suggesting that we wait for it.
We wait till February? Is
Yeah.
it not that critical? We're spending money on repairs to the, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know the severity. I mean,
Yeah, but that's only a couple months away. So, but we could make a motion to take design and construction and put this in SRS funding and apply for that and hope that we get approved.
If I could just add some clarity to the timing, so we would submit in February. We don't really see the loan closing until 7 to 9 months later.
Yeah, but.
Meaning the work wouldn't start till 7 to 9 months later. So it'd be a year from now before the design would get started in that approach.
Right, but then it's low cost at that point versus 500,000 of our money.
Yeah.
Our customers' money.
Well, but the service, your proposal was for 37,500.
Correct.
So that's what we'd be saving, a portion of that, or putting it into a loan.
I see. Could we ask staff to put together information about what we're spending on extra maintenance at pump station 17 to decide whether we can get a.
What is your feeling, I guess?
Yeah.
This has been a discussion going on for 17 for long before me. So I don't want to say we've been kicking this down the road, but.
Well, we're not going to kick it down the road. We could approve it, like Bob said. And just
But you can't start the process until after the February. So you're kicking it down the road if you don't let them start the design now. You're gonna add 3 months.
Yeah.
Or you wait till you get the funding, then you design. So you're losing 3 months
Yeah.
before you start construction.
And that's the clarification, I think. So even if the board's conclusion was that they want it all lumped into the loan, then tonight's essentially meaningless, because at the end of the day, you're going to have the loan application, and then you get the loan award, and then you'd authorize it, and then you'd begin the design work.
Correct.
So there really isn't anything happening tonight if you go that route. Alternatively, if the board were to approve the proposal, you would begin on the design work now, but then that wouldn't be in the loan. So that's kind of your option. Is that fair?
I think that's correct, yes.
So what I was asking is, how much extra are we spending on maintaining that pump station? And does that counterbalance the engineering fees for design?
That would be a conversation with Jeff, but Jeff seems to think, again, then the pump station itself, old pumps, next thing you know,
Yeah.
pumps go bad,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
buying a brand new pump for $40,000. So we're at the $37.50 there. Again, that's all what ifs. I mean, they're all, yeah.
Do you have a recommendation, Robin?
For moving forwards, I'd say, I know it's $37,000, but I would say we get the design moving forward. And then we go for the loan for the construction portion.
Then I'd make a motion that we approve the $37,000 to do the design.
And this clarification, it's $37,500.
I'm sorry, $37,500.
Who was the second?
I second.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, open forum, general discussion on the update for 4th Street project and Burton neighborhood.
Excuse me. I just want to provide a little bit, usually on my report, I provide a little information, but not really a lot to update, except for right now, we're still going through design. GMB's moving forward with design and surveying. They have prepared a plan that has been submitted with all the existing conditions out there, all the piping that they're aware of in the 4th Street Park Avenue project area. Staff is going over it to see if there's any modifications to that existing plan, review of any things that we know that might be different than what's on the plan. Staff and GMB has, the contractor has been starting the camera work for 4th Street Park area of that Park Avenue. They're cameraing the sewer and stormwater lines to verify the sizing and to see the condition of the piping. There is a possibility that the sewer, more towards the sewer side, that can be relined instead of having to be replaced. The storm sewer, I don't know if there's any documentation right now to say some of it's bad, but it could be the same thing. If there's an opportunity to reline instead of replace, there could be a little bit of time savings and a little bit of cost savings of doing it. But once that cameraing gets done, then we'll be able to, determine where we're going forwards with either replacement or relining. I think Andrew said the other day, either way, the way the street design is done, there's going to have to be some extra catch basins put in on 4th Street, potentially. So there's going to have to be some sort of modifications, but if we can keep the piping, that would be great. GMB did update the Gantt chart that was handed out. We had a task force meeting with the representatives from Burton yesterday. There was the Gantt chart was updated. GMB believes we're still really on schedule with what we got on the plans right now, which is the final completion date of June of 2028. Hopefully by middle of next year, that we go out to bidding and awarding the bid and maybe hopefully start construction.
That completion date includes what, and or excludes what?
It includes
this time.
everything. Supposedly there is streets, water, sewer, stormwater, and streets.
Which streets?
4th Street and Park Avenue and Johnson.
Okay.
So 4th Street,
The original.
Fourth
scope.
Street from Savannah to Burton,
Right.
Park Avenue and Johnson to Dubon. Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
As we discussed at the joint meeting, we've conducted additional water sampling testing out there in that area. We did that on July 31st. It was done at the same 6 locations that we did previously in May. Just to get a comparison on what it was back then and what it is now. We did have 2 that were over the EPA guidelines, but one of them was actually a little lower than what was previously tested. So along with that and the obtaining pipe samples, we've got 2 done of the 3 streets. We did Burton and we did Painter. So we have them in the office. They are planning on doing Johnson tomorrow, but we don't know what the weather's going to do. So hopefully they'll be able to get that done. Once we get that done, we'll take that data along with the concerns from the residents that they've talked about their water. We'll evaluate that with GMB and move forward with how the board wants to address those future streets. Currently, those future streets are on our 10-year capital plan with the starting date as fiscal year 29, then 31 and 33. As Sharon had alluded to a little bit ago, we had met with the USDA about potential funding for those streets. So we can take all that information, put it all together and see if there's a need to possibly adjust, move, change any of the data we have now. That's kind of a short summary of what we have going on.
Good.
That's helpful. Thank you. Okay. Now we're into new business. I can get back to the old one. Open-forum general discussion on the final acceptance of Mariners Retreat. That's for Robin and Mike.
I can find it.
Well, finally, after I think 3 times on the agenda, everything seems to be good to go with the conditional acceptance of the infrastructure and stuff out there at Mariners Retreat. They have the punch list, the utilities are all complete, the punch list has been taken care of. All the outstanding invoices have been paid. The mayor and city council has already approved the conditional acceptance of this development back in May. If approved, as noted on the letter from GMB, should be conditioned upon the submission of a 1-year maintenance bond in the amount of $158,750. And that should be submitted to Janelle within 10 days of the date of conditional acceptance. Other than that, I think everything is good to go. And
Robin, just one clarifying question. So the maintenance bond that hasn't been posted yet?
No.
But it includes the BPW and the city?
Correct. Yep.
And so the ask of the board today would be to approve conditioned on providing the maintenance bond and then as required by the city?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
So moved.
Well, it's a resolution, so it's a 2-step.
Can you read the resolution by title only?
If we need a motion.
So moved.
Motion read by title only, moved by press. Need a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Madam President, members of the board, resolution number 25-0010, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Board of Public Works of the City of Lewis accepting the utility improvements for the Mariners Retreat development. Madam President, resolution number 25-0010 has been read by title only, placed before the board for its consideration and adoption. We are entertaining a motion to approve the resolution conditioned on providing the maintenance bond as required by the city.
Make a motion that we approve the resolution conditioned on getting the maintenance bond
As required by the city.
As required by
as
the
required by the city.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay. Next is open forum general discussion on the Hoornkill Avenue MOU.
The water tank.
Oh. I've got to stop working off the whole agenda.
Thank you.
Proposal to provide consulting and inspection services during construction of the elevated storage tank. Back again.
Yes, back again. Ben Hearn with GMB. So in the specification package for the tank, it was required, we put in talking with Austin when we were bidding this out, or putting this project together, to have a third-party inspection for the tank erection, specifically the weld inspection, to make sure everything gets welded appropriately and checked, as well as the painting inspection, the coating system, to make sure that's installed properly. The coating is the most, I would say, probably one of the most important parts of the tower, because that's going to provide the protection for it, long-term longevity. So we did specify in the specification specifically, going out and talking to Mumford Bjorkman, who you guys are familiar with. They've done some work for you guys previously on your existing Schley Tower. However, we did, after I got that quote to Robin asked that we reach out to other vendors just to make sure we get good pricing. We did contact 4 other firms, and ultimately 2 of those said that they don't complete this type of inspection. One could not meet the schedule that was proposed by CB&I, and the other one did not respond at all. So not a lot of, response there, which isn't great. However, I do feel that, you've dealt with Mumford Bjorkman before. I think they've done a good job, specifically on the Schley Tower. They do this every day. So I don't have reservations on my side of dealing with Mumford and Bjorkman.
I think it was a good idea to go out, but it's a shame.
Okay, but this is not in the already approved money of 6 million, whatever.
It was not specifically allocated in the engineering when the project was put out for funding, no. Also, as you were aware, the tower came in way over budget due to some various factors, but
So this is an additional addition.
It would be an additional addition, yes. And at the bottom, you can see the total, which would be spread over 2 fiscal years. The erection would be starting soon, and then the tank painting would be occurring, say, May, June, July of next year.
That's the internal painting.
Internal and external.
And including the graphics?
Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
And this is just the inspection, not actually doing it.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you were correct, yes.
What is holiday testing? What is a holiday detector?
I wondered that too. I wasn't gonna say anything.
I'm not afraid to
I'm
ask
sure
dumb
it's a-
questions.
Yeah. Go ahead, just keep going.
I'll have to get back to you. That's a little outside of my knowledge. I believe it's something to do with the welding, but I'm not 100%
Or
certain.
there may be gaps or something,
Yeah.
possibly.
They call holes.
Well, is this how this is usually done?
In terms of third-party inspection,
Yeah.
from our experience, yes, it is. I mean, you guys want to make sure that you're getting a good product, keeping the contractor honest.
I think it's money well spent. I know it's a lot, but
Yeah,
God,
it is a lot. So this is
Well, I'll
not
just
something
defer to-
D&D
to-
does for us.
Others' experience. I
Yeah.
mean, Barbara, I think you have experience in press, you do, and
Yeah.
probably Richard,
What is NACE and what is SSPC?
So NACE, trying to see, so
NACE is a
Certification.
standard.
it's, they're certifications
National.
for welding, so the welds on the tank, have to meet a certain standard, and it's about how much they're built up off of the surface. So that's a NACE standard, and these guys are certified in that standard.
I'm sure if Todd was here, he would know.
National,
Yeah.
National Association of Corrosion Engineers and the Society of Protective Coatings.
Yeah, there you go.
And for what it's worth, the internet says a holiday is a microscopic flaw in the protective coating or lining of a water storage tank invisible to the naked eye.
How about that?
And the testing is an electrical test for detecting voltage.
Okay, we're clearly outside the skill set.
All right, we all learned something. Any more discussion, any questions we can ask of Ben? Do I have a motion to approve the extra funds on the water tank project?
Make a motion that we approve the proposal for the additional $126,200.
Have a second?
I'll second, but we'd be doing this on the smaller water tank had we not stretched to get the bigger one.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it's too late to go back to the smaller one, isn't it?
Price for this would probably be the same. then.
Yeah,
It's the same.
probably would. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Ben. Now we're on the Hoornkill Avenue MOU.
Well, probably this would probably need to be deferred. We had to make some slight adjustments as noted in the emails,
Okay.
and the city's not had a chance to look at it.
Okay.
I've got all these numbers written over it, trying to figure out what it's doing. So maybe you could also include a little bit of, here's how much we're asking for. I mean, 842, 2101, that adds to, something comes back, BPW is, probably the city is 1152. I'll give you my sheet of paper, but a little tabulation of how much money this is.
You mean, you're talking the total?
Yeah, no, well, the total and how much is BPW and how much is just, and how much is forgiven and,
So your first numbers are your project total. The second paragraph is the
I
principal
understand what the
forgiveness.
paragraphs are. Just give me a little table. that-
Oh, like okay.
Okay. Well, we're bringing it back next month,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
hopefully, so
I'm
we'll bring it back
asking
when you
that
come.
that-
Yep.
Good, okay. So are we now on the Overlook Developers Agreement for the Overlook Alaska Avenue project?
the Overlook, which used to be the project on Cape Lemon Drive and Savannah Road, which was the carriage house at Cape Lemon,
Okay.
which is a 11-unit project that's been going on for some time now. Project was approved by the mayor and city council. Just a little background, the entrance is going to be off of Alaska Avenue. DelDOT wouldn't allow the entrance to the development off of Cape Lemon Drive or Savannah Road, even though it's an existing entrance there now. But that's here nor there. This is just a standard development agreement that we have with all developments, you know, when they get approved. The only exception to this is the work that's being done on Alaska Avenue, the additional work. We have asked the developer to include what we were going to be doing an upgrade on Alaska Avenue. They are required to do their portion, which is tie in from the water from Cape Lemon Drive and into going into the development. The sewer line does not have to be changed. There was discussion some time ago, as we all know, with Cape Lemon State Park possibly coming on and using this line that we were going to have to upsize to a 10-inch. That still has to be done now. That don't have to be done.
Wait a minute, say that again. We're not going to repair that sewer?
We're going to repair. We're not going to replace it. We're not going to change it to a 10-inch. We're going to go ahead and reline it.
Reline it?
Yeah.
And what's the material now?
Clay.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and reline it. It's already in the capital project budget to do that. So is the water line. We decided instead of bidding the water line out ourselves, we was just have the contractor do it. As noted in there, that we got a price from them. It's $28,000 to do that. As noted in the development agreement, we will reimburse them when that work is all done. That's included in the development agreement.
Okay. The repair, the lining, is it going to be an HDPE line or is it going to be the concrete? For the repair of that sewer out there, because it's terrible sewer, how's it going to be relined? You're going to line it with an HDPE, or you're not going to go back and put a cement, what do you call it, with the
centrifugal.
Yeah.
No, it would be what we've done on a lot of projects, just a blown-in, cured-in-place liner. Typical of what we've done on other projects. We're also going to do manhole rehabilitation.
Are we sure that pipe is in good enough shape to do that?
That's part of what the initial, there's initial CCTV that the contractor needs to do that's going to determine that it's lineable or not.
Okay, because I was told or believed that it was pretty bad shape going through the wetlands there and probably leaking all over the place.
Yeah, so it was installed back in the 60s when the plant was initially put in. So
okay.
Probably getting permitting to replace it. Yeah, but hopefully it'll all be good enough to be relined.
And that's going to be a separate project from this. So we're going to go out for bid next month, Ben? Next month we go out for bid? Or early?
Yes, that was what we were
So that's it, but that's all on us.
That is all on us, yes.
The
That has
sewer
nothing to
work
do
is
with,
on
yes,
us.
has nothing to do with this
This
developer's agreement.
agreement is only for the
Water.
water. Okay.
Our portion,
Our
yeah,
portion.
yeah, because they've got to put a manhole and tap into that existing line. They're required to do that as part of their project.
And just to further clarify that, if you're looking in the agreement, it's 2.7. Anytime there is off-site work supporting a development, they have to sign a development agreement, which has all the standard conditions. It also addresses turnover when construction is complete, how inspection is handled, how it gets turned over and accepted by the BPW. All of that is in here because there is off-site work that supports the development that is the developer's responsibility. Since they are already out there working, BPW discussed with them just running the line essentially a little bit further, and the BPW would reimburse them the cost associated with running that line. That's the $28,000 that you see in 2.7. It has been calculated and agreed upon, so it is not a Tower Hill situation where there was going back and forth in terms of what we actually, it is 28,000, that is the amount. Other than that, it's your standard development agreement. The only thing I would say is that should you be inclined to approve, it does include the city's portion. That still needs to be approved by the city. So I would just approve it conditioned on the city approving their portion.
Could I ask a couple questions? On the first page, it says property is zoned general commercial and includes 11 townhomes. Is there any commercial activity other than those 11 homes?
I don't believe so. No.
What I was looking for, I thought when I first read this, that there was a public parking lot.
Yes, that's it. There is the commercial aspect is the parking spots along.
Okay, but nothing
That
that requires
building.
any water.
Correct.
No building itself. It's all going to be, the buildings are all going to be residential.
Is that a part? Can I, oh, I'm sorry. You're still in your question. Go ahead.
On the third whereas, is there a reason that electric is not mentioned as one of the utilities that's identified? Because it talks about electric somewhere later.
So the short answer is that in the original draft, they didn't capture the electric, but as we went and we drafted this, it was identified that there actually is an electric line coming in and an electric easement. And so that's just an oversight. It's not a material oversight, but it is an oversight.
But
are there
on the third where, I'm sorry, Mr. Nichols, but on the third warehouse clause, it specifically references the Alaska Avenue work, which is only water and sewer.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's why it's only water and sewer in that section.
Okay.
Thank you.
On the second page, 3 more whereas, are there easements required or relevant?
There is for the electric, which is the one utility that is going to be in the property. All other work is going to be in the right of way, so no easements required.
Okay. And are there, in fact, improvements required by the city, including roads, curbs, sidewalks, landscaping, or is that just a placeholder standard?
It is, and so that's covered by the city component, which is section 3 of the agreement.
Okay.
Did I read there is public parking being provided here?
I thought that's what it was originally that way.
But I don't know if
I tried to find it, I can't find it
Something
now.
like, in order to build this, he needed to have a commercial aspect.
Yes, I think there had to be a
that
commercial
corner.
component.
So he said, well, we'll have public parking.
Okay.
And, you know,
That's,
I'll follow up.
yeah. But I think that's how it was originally,
That's how
as Bob said,
but
I
yes.
remember being there.
Yeah.
And
You mean from the planning commission perspective?
from the planning commission or
This project
the
has
joint
more.
site development commission or something like that.
So you were in the room where it happened.
Yeah. But he had to have some commercial thing there.
That's what I
So it was gonna
recall.
be
also.
parking along Cape and Lopin Drive and Savannah Road.
On 2.7, it says regulations applicable to the BPW system. Shouldn't it be plural?
No, BPW system's a defined term, and we collectively define it. That actually does remind, so the highlighted pieces here, by the way, were things that we were going back and forth on in the draft. And so the material difference in this agreement there is to 2.9. The deposit amount has been decreased from what your standard deposit typically is. And the reason for that is just the scale of the project. It's a smaller scale than you typically see in these types of development agreements.
On 2.9, 1, 2, 3, on the fourth line, other actual administrative review costs and acceptance, review and acceptance costs associated, does that need to be added, and acceptance?
I don't think so. So the purpose of the deposit is really to cover the design, which is already complete on this. So there is no review of the plans. The plans for this particular work is already completed, and then the inspections, and that's what the cost is covered by the development agreement. So I don't think, Richard, there'd be anything other than what it says.
2.10B, as in boy. Developer and add at developer's expense shall disconnect the property.
So that is implied in all of this.
And 216, is it plural meters, one or more meters?
I don't know. That's a good question.
There's going to be meters there.
That is meters. All right. 216.
We're gonna meter each one of these units in here?
Correct.
So would it be more than one pit?
Robin,
Yes, there'll be 11 pits. Yeah.
Yep, I will make that change. Thank you.
And because there's no commercial on 219 ownership for connections to residential dwellings, there's no commercial meters per se. Are there any, on item 5, environmental protection compliance, are there any resiliency requirements that they need to meet? Resiliency is not named.
So I will say a couple things. I think, so from our perspective, we can't speak for the city, and so that's going to be a different ball game. From our perspective, it is just the laws and regulations impacting the utilities, which is why it's drafted.
Thank you.
And to note on 1117, our portion of the attorney fees will be $1,500. That's 1117.
Any other comments, questions?
I think it looks good, except, if you're gonna have 11 pits there, there's some creativity might be a good thing.
It's a pit manifold.
Do I have a motion to approve this pending the correction to the meter pits and whenever, pending the city's approval of the agreement as well? Do I have a motion?
So motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Kings Highway. Is that the next one, or do we take that off?
Well, I can give a little bit of brief update on it. What's put on for is, everybody's aware of the Kings Highway Roundabout project by DelDOT, whenever that's going to come into play, just like the.
You think they're gonna do that by roundabouts?
I thought we were gonna have the new road bridge project done by now too. That's a tough topic in itself, but, as part of that project, there's requirements DelDOT will have to relocate some of our utilities, water, sewer, specifically in areas around the roundabouts. All of it's gonna have to be moved, but we don't want the piping in the roundabouts, and DelDOT don't want them in the street. Staff and GMBs had discussions with DelDOT about this project off and on here and there. DelDOT requested as part of the project for GMB to provide an engineering service proposal for the development of a utility plan for the permanent relocation. They like using our engineers because we're familiar with all the piping and all the stuff instead of them having their own. That said, GMB provided us with a proposal. Noted in the proposal is that we would pay GMB and get reimbursed from DelDOT. I'm looking to try to do it different as the way we did with the new road project, that GMB would basically be a subcontractor to DelDOT's subcontractor, and the funding would be going right directly from DelDOT. I got to have a follow-up conversation with the gentleman from DelDOT to see if that's possible. I mean, they did it on the new road. If we do it this way, we're going to be, not saying GMB should not get paid, but the proposal is for $185,000. If we do it this way, we would have to work out with DelDOT, make sure we're going to get paid, but we would have to reimburse. We would get and then wait for reimbursement from DelDOT. Hopefully we can work it the other way. I've not, like I said, that's all I have right now. I've not had a chance to follow up with
Would we
DelDOT.
get the administration fee of 15%? That'd be great. That'd be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, could be possible, if we wanted to do it again.
Once we do that, all our people,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, again, this is not budgeted,
Yeah.
so it would be a budgeted item that we would have to do. I
Good
guess
point.
if we just don't want to mess with it at all and have,
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's smart.
correct.
No, but a good point to raise when you're talking to DelDOT.
Yeah.
We have to add 15%
Yeah.
onto it.
Yeah.
You know how that's.
Yeah.
Might help.
So that's general, as I just wanted to bring it forward because again, we're moving forwards with this. We've provided some locations for test pits and things like that for, so they seem to be moving forward with the project, but it has gone a little slower than I thought. But
Anybody trying to talk into fewer traffic circles?
I heard at one time that they were talking about removing the one at Cape and Open High School.
They're gonna come and speak to the city, not in a public forum. They're just gonna come for an internal meeting. I will see if I can get you an invite to that meeting.
Is that part of the discussion or is it just in general?
Well, they are coming to present their update to us, so
Okay.
we would be
Good.
having some of that
Sure.
conversation. Cape Cod Open School District has reached out to us as well, so I will, but it's not a public meeting. They're just doing an update, but I'll do my best to get you an invitation.
Thank you.
I think the utilities should go right down the middle, and in the middle of each traffic circle, we put a lighthouse.
We got a design.
So,
One buoy, one.
Whether you get invited or not.
however, I am seriously in favor of reducing the traffic circle, and we'll have to combine our regards, what we want, so that
Hey, you
You know,
can't
Barbara and I may have to share one.
you can't have 16-year-old kids getting out of school and using a yield kind of thing. Oh my God, that's gonna be a mess.
I have one of those drivers and it's not fun.
And what I brought up originally during the design, it's an off conversation here, but the DART bus stops are right at the traffic circles, every one of them. And they are not pulling off the road because DelDOT said it's not safe for the bus to pull off the road, so they are blocking one of the lanes.
Oh my God.
Good.
Correct. Yeah, unless something has changed
You
the
gotta
last time
jump
I seen
on
the
when
plan.
they're moving too.
So when you're going up to
We'd
the
like to
traffic
be
circle,
invited.
if there's if there's a bus there, the people are gonna have to go around, and I think one of them is right there at the Cape and Open High School.
Wow. Okay. All right, now we get to item 20. The Crown Castle Fiber LLC pole attachment agreement.
Boy, that was a surprise. I didn't hear anything about that before they started coming down my street.
No, that's
No,
not.
that's
That's Chantel. This is,
That's
yeah,
not us.
this is,
Oh, that's not,
No, that's a city project. That's a city.
this, yeah, this is,
No, wait.
Chantel is supposed to.
What are we talking about?
I'll let you guys go, but
Good,
and then I can comment.
yeah.
The agreement we have with Chantel,
Yeah.
notification, but you guys.
Crown Castle, this is our standard pole attachment agreement.
Okay.
They want to put some small wireless facilities on our poles. So this is what this application is.
Oh, okay.
similar to the one we have with AT&T. We have
Correct.
an existing agreement with AT&T. They have 2 locations on our poles in the beach area. We don't have a specific location for this yet. They wanted to get this paperwork together first before they
Do you
submit
have
an
any
application.
idea how many they want to put in? Or?
No.
And this is just the little antennas on the pole,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
like you have on Rhode Island Avenue.
Correct.
Is
Have they
this
put-
any different from what we've looked at before?
We have a different agreement for the fiber lines. Basically, the language is all kind of the same,
Okay,
except for the pricing.
okay.
Do
But
we-
the pole attachment,
Yes, it's our standard, like Sharon said, it's our standard form. Yep, correct.
Do we know what it looks like? Have we seen?
That's
Picture
the
of it?
city. Yep, the city checks that out. Yep.
So
Okay, but this is like $150 per pole, and it's a pole here, and 500 feet away, it's another pole.
It's probably going to be farther than that, but yeah.
Yeah.
They have,
So it-
AT&T's example, they have one on 2500 Bay Avenue, and they have one on 9 Rhode
Rhode
Island,
Island.
and they have one on 11.
So they have fiber over there.
They have 3 down in the beach area. 2 of them are on our poles, one of them was on a Verizon pole, so
Okay,
we
and
don't
so
have
this
an agreement
is-
for that.
Well, but shouldn't we, the city has the lead there, but shouldn't we at least be, what they look like or where they're gonna be and all that kind of stuff?
When in the application, they will submit, they will put it in their application, but the city's the one that has as when this was all written, this is how it was laid out as far as the ordinance.
just context to this and keep in mind, so when you're dealing with telecom space, there's a whole different set of rules, regulations, and statutes, and it comes from the feds. And so because of that, and anticipating that you would see more of these in the small cell wireless and as you go along, the board approved the form agreement. And the idea there is to standardize expectations and processes so that as you get these, everybody's following the same rules. And so the structure is the BPW is involved because you own your pole. And what this agreement addresses is expectations, standards, process, costs in terms of how you're going to use that pole. When it comes to what does it look like, that is outside of your purview, and that is more of a zoning city question. And so the city has its own standards and processes that address how it handles what it looks like. So your agreement will address how, where it gets placed, how it gets approved to get placed, and board's rights and responsibilities and ability to remove, relocate, and do all of that.
So how it's installed on the pole.
Bingo.
So
You 100%. But the key in this space is you can't restrict telecom. So you can put regulations, but they have to be consistent and they have to be clear. And again, there's parameters on that, which is the purpose of this. So this has been the painstaking process to as these projects come along, get everyone into this more uniform approach. And as Robin mentioned, we have AT&T, this is Crown Castle. There were some minor tweaks, no material changes in the discussion with Crown Castle. But again, it's having this form agreement to govern this space.
Okay,
So this glow fiber is, I think that's the name of this other.
Yeah.
What is that all about? And are we being impacted? Because they're going up our poles too, I think.
I don't know. I'm not familiar with the.
In certain areas, they are going up our poles, and we have applications. They have signed an agreement. Yep. The board approved the agreement. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But
But they're not wireless. They're
but
just.
they aren't called glow fiber in the agreement.
But it hasn't been in the paper that I've seen. And first thing I knew about it, no, this glow fiber.
Well, Glow
That-
Fiber is
yeah,
doing it
that's
for
it.
Chantel.
Okay. They came down our street and then start cutting holes in the road.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Chantel,
Mhm.
the agreement with Chantel, agreement is in quotes,
Okay.
is that they are to pre-notify citizens, whether it's a door that,
A hanger.
a hanger or something. They're supposed to let the community, the neighborhoods know before they start painting roads with arrows and everything else.
But I got mine either Monday or Friday.
You got a notice on your door.
No, I got a postcard
You got a postcard.
and the
Okay.
thing's been installed. It's been
You
installed
got a
for
postcard
two-
after they.
2
deliver.
weeks. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will follow up with
Yeah.
them again.
That's the post office.
Well, now, just on pole attachment, okay, glow fiber comes back and they hang a wire on there. AT&T or these guys come by and they hang a small refrigerator on the side. Are they paying more?
So it's per pole per the agreement, and so it's per pole, and then but this is and it's way more technical than I understand, but it in terms of co-locating rules, in terms of what can be where, how it can be, and they have to go through an application process to confirm that you comply with co-locating rules. So that's what all of this addresses. So to answer your question, there are specifications that govern what they can do, and then it's going to be on a per pole basis per the agreement.
Well, I was, they put in a pit on my neighbor's property about 6 inches away from the transformer. A buried pit. You know?
Yeah.
And my neighbor hasn't even been home yet. When he comes out, I'll be surprised it's there.
The only thing I will add, and I want to step in it by saying this, but to the extent Chantel or anybody is using BPW poles, there should be a BPW agreement.
There is.
There is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Good. That's all. Yep. Before they, again, did the same thing before they submitted any applications, the board approved the pole attachment.
Okay, good.
So
They all blend together.
Yep.
Is there a definition for small?
There is on the feds in the federal space.
so far, when they pulled the line across, they've dug 2 probably foot square pieces of asphalt out and had a pit there so they could visually see the line passing under the road. And they told me that I went out and said, now, how are you going to compact this and repave it? And I was told they were going to make a bigger cut and have a company come in and do that. I guess that's, so I felt a little bit better that they weren't just, because these guys out there didn't even speak English. I mean, and they couldn't converse with me.
And for all the underground work, they have to get a permit through the city and the building department, and the building department inspects it to make sure.
I'm hoping they're going to inspect it because we have a lot of holes
Follow up,
sinking.
Chris.
Yeah.
Your neighborhood is what? What's it? Just because I'm going to use it as an example.
I'm on Del Mar Avenue on the
Del
beach side, yeah.
Okay.
And everything is basically underground.
Yeah, because all my utilities are underground.
Yeah.
It's one of the cul-de-sac lots.
Because they have gone to other neighborhoods and drawn arrows and lines and
Yeah.
in people's yards to say, oh no, that neighborhood's not gonna work. So there's this preliminary thing they do, so in your neighborhood, it does work. You know,
Yeah.
the benefit is you have alternatives to,
Yeah.
you know, the current primary carrier.
It's
Yes.
just,
Good news part.
it was just, out of the blue.
Yeah.
And my neighbor doesn't even know about it unless I guess he got a postcard by now.
Okay.
The one last thing I'd point out, just because it's of interest to the board, is the other thing that was covered in the pole attachment agreement is removal and obligations to remove and timeliness and all of that. So again, trying to shift everybody over to the new agreements.
Do our old agreements have an obligation to remove?
That's a loaded question.
Okay.
Does the new color-coded tab on the pole for this small device have to match the color-coded tag for their existing agreement for other attachments that they've done? There's reference to.
They don't have.
They do. So
They don't, right now, they don't have any other wireless.
they do.
They do?
So
This
they,
references existing
Yeah.
agreement.
so
They
they,
have a disagreement for fiber, but not
Yes.
for, not for
got it,
wireless.
not for wireless.
Yes, correct.
But they must be having to put a marker on the pole for their attachment of that wireless agreement, or I don't know, whatever the other agreement is. There's two agreements. One existing now is this new smaller thing that talks about identifying on the pole so you can see it from the ground and read it.
What section
This
are you in?
belongs to this company.
What section are you reading from?
To answer your question, so whatever,
3.2 on page 6, top of the page.
coloring unique to, like, so whatever would be required here, they're gonna be required to do for that facility. The challenge as we convert all these is the past agreements may or may not have the same requirement.
Okay.
And that's, we wanna move everybody over to these, but sometimes you do have these legacy overlap.
Okay, so there's no predetermined matching of this unique
Yes.
to whatever else they
Correct.
might be using. Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that they put two conduits under the road. One's orange and one's black. I don't know why they have two, but they ran two over. And I
Chantel.
Positive and negative.
Chantel. Yeah, that's Chantel.
So do we have a motion to approve the license agreement?
I'll move.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. And we were on to requests for agenda items for the next meeting.
I think Tom usually just says if everything, you've got anything, submit it and we'll.
Okay.
Well, I'd like Robin to look through the pump thing and pick some priorities on what needs to be done or what needs to be addressed sooner.
On this?
Yeah, without, like I said before, we could spend a lot more money filling out another matrix with how much each one was and so on. So pick a limited number and let's get money on those to see what we're really looking at, but if something needs to be raised 1.5 feet, don't worry about it. It's good for the next 20 years. If something needs to be raised 5 feet and the electric systems are poor, then maybe that's a candidate. So.
Good idea.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, call to the public. No. Okay, call to the press. No press. Okay, do I have a motion that we go into, before we have a motion to go into an executive session, I wanted to tell Amy something. I just got back from Calgary, Canada, and they have a law that all new commercial development must spend 1% of the cost of construction on public art. I thought that was so cool, and I thought I'd pass it along. They had some beautiful sculptures there.
Nice.
So now, do I have a call to go into open executive session? Motion.
So moved.
Amy?
I'm leaving.
One,
I mean, I'm not in your executive, right?
No,
I'm
no.
not leaving to be rude.
No, I just want to tell you, I talked to Khalil briefly about what we're doing. He wasn't aware of this, and he said he'd invite me to one of his meetings.
Yes, as soon as you are ready to
Okay,
share, you'd be at the IRC.
okay,
That's the name of that meeting.
all right.
How do you guys use these microphones? Or am I the only one who can't do this? Okay.
we need a second.
Second.
Richard?
We're,
All in
we're
favor?
learning too. Josh is over there waving his hands at me. Stop doing that.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.